get my line, I get ready. Feeling too trippy, get it cracking like a levy. I'ma show 'em all how to party if they let me. Cue the countdown and release the confetti. The party don't start till I get there. Sit it's all in the rest and it ain't fair. I've been waiting on this moment my whole life. Yeah, give me my crown if it's just right. You make it look good. Watch yourself, huh? Yeah, you make it look good. Don't let it watch yourself, huh? Cause you make it look good. Watch this. Pull up with the top down. Ain't anything. I'm way too hot now. I radiate. Don't need a rear view. They behind me. Cause my future's so bright in my blind. Hold up. Why I gotta shine so bright? Don't need a reason. Escorting my haters out. They wish you sleep. Can't be nobody else. I'ma be myself. So they gon' have to watch me treat myself. You make it look good. Watch yourself, huh? Yeah, you make it look good. Don't let it watch yourself, huh? Cause you make it look good. You make it look good. Watch yourself, huh? Yeah, you make it look good. Don't let it watch yourself, huh? Cause you make it look good. Watch yourself, huh? You make it look good. You make it look good. Watch yourself, huh? Yeah, you make it look good. Don't let it watch yourself, huh? Cause you make it look good. Watch this.
Watch this. Y'all. It is Wednesday. I want to thank y'all for coming through on this Wednesday evening. I hope everybody had a good day today. We are dadgum in the middle of the week. All right. And everybody is still here. Everybody is still making it. And I am so proud of you. Okay. Today we are going to be doing our Sinners review. All right. Now, if you have not seen Sinners and you are in here right now, I'm going to tell you right now, we going to spoil the movie. All right. We going to go from top to bottom. All right. Beginning to end. All right. Now, y'all ready to sweat till you stink? Huh? Y'all ready to sweat till you stink? That's all I want to know. Because we're going to go over some Sinners. All right. So, great movie. We're going to have a robust discussion about some of the topics and the things that happen in the movie. Okay. So, if y'all are ready to get down and do this, I'm going to see who is in here. By the way, you come across the Native Tribe Urban Media channel. I am your host, and they call me Native. They do. That's what they call me. So, let's see who is here on this Wednesday with me. All right. First up, it says Only Me 23. Hello, Only Me 23. How are you? Says I'm ready. I'm ready too. I am ready. I've been from the time I went and sat down and watched this movie. I have been ready to talk about this and how this is damn near the most perfect movie probably ever. AK's F350 is here. It says, finally, yes, indeed. You sound clown. It says, let's go Native Tribe and sleep. And Smokey, Smokey is sleep. You're right. How did you know? Jay Blake in the building says, hey, Native in chat. Hello, Jay Blake. How are you? Jet Black Straight is here today. Hello, Jet Black Straight. How are you? A lady 747 says, thank goodness. I know, right? Justin's mom is in the building, says, hey, Native and Tribe. Hello, Justin's mom. How are you? Southside Chi-Town 73 says, hey, all in the bushes tonight. Well, enjoy yourself in the bushes. Thank you so much for being here. Dimples Wumples 504 says, happy hump day, everyone. Well, happy hump day to you, Dimples Wumples. Thank you so much for being here. Of course, Dimples Wumples is, of course, a part of that notorious Native Tribe Urban Media Mod Squad. Thank you for everything that you do behind the scenes, Dimples and Wumples. I do appreciate it. Shirley's Divorce Finally is here. Says, hey, chat. Hello, Shirley's Divorce Finally. How are you? Tell me that part in the building. Says, good evening, Tribers. Well, good evening to you. Tell me that part. All right. We got Ms. Mad About Music in the house. Says, hello, Native and Tribe family. Hello, Ms. Mad About Music. Texas Toy is also joining us this evening. Hello. Tanya B here. Indeed, be here. Hello, Tanya B here. Sammy Cake in the house. Hello, Sammy Cake. How are you doing today? We got Michi3 in the building. Says, hey, Tribe. Well, hello, Michi3. How are you? Just Nikki in the building says, "Hey Native, hey Tribe, we make it look good. We make it look good over here, Just Nikki. Now what the rest of them doing? Huh? Huh? We make it look good over here. That's what happens over here at the Native Tribe. But Just Nikki, I appreciate you over here with me because you helped me make it look good, Just Nikki, and I appreciate you. I really, really do. My Ty is in the house. Hello, my Ty. Granny the Great also here says, "Good evening, Native in chat." All right, Dumples Wumple said, "Break it down." We're gonna break it down. We're gonna get you all the information you need. Okay. Andrea says, "Hello, Native and everyone." Hello, Andrea. How are you? CC in the building says, "Hi, Tribe." You hit the like button. I appreciate you hitting the like button. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Miss Boogie Down, all the way from the Boogie Down Bronx, is here and says, "Hey, Native and Tribe at work in the bushes." Well, hello, Miss Boogie Down. Try not to work too hard in them bushes, okay? No one knows says, "Good evening, all." Hello, hello, hello. My hero, the only black but not bitter, is in the house. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Juju D in the building. Hello, Juju D. How are you? Salt and Pepper Tresses is also in the house. Hello, Salt and Pepper Tresses. How are you doing? Let's see. I got a let's talk about it all in the house. Hello, hello, hello. Justin's mom. Did I speak to you, Justin's mom? Hello, Justin's mom. How are you? Texas Toy say nasty native. I don't know why you calling me nasty. I ain't did nothing. I'm over here minding my business. All right. That's all I'm doing today. All right. Now, Texas Toy, let me ask you a question. Are you ready to sweat till you stink? Huh? That's all I want to know. All right. Cause we gonna get down in this here joint tonight. All right. Um, Michi Three said, "I don't know about stinking." Come on, Michi Three. Now you got now you done seen centers, you done seen the dance scene, you seen the juke joint. Now, Michi Three, if you ain't ready to stank, don't go to the juke joint. That's just a rule of thumb. Because that's what's gonna happen when you go to the juke joint. You're gonna stink. You're gonna sweat till you stink. That's all it's gonna be. All right. Miss Riri, 60 and Fabulous, says, "Good evening, Native and Tribe." Hello, Miss Riri, 60 and Fabulous. How are you? Um, Texas Toy said, "Meets three girl native gonna have to stank by his damn self." Look. Let me tell you something. Um, there was a group from New Orleans called UNLV, Uptown Niggas Living Violent. Okay, and they said you go to the club and you sweating so hard you need 3 or 4 towels. See, we get down. We get down. We ain't afraid to sweat. All right. All you gotta do is go home and take a shower. That's all you gotta do. Okay. All right. All right. I'm just saying. I ain't never been to the juke joint before. That ain't my fault. That ain't my fault because y'all ain't never been to the juke joint before. Ain't got nothing to do with that. Okay. All right. Beauty is her name in here. Says, "Good evening, Native and Tribe." Hello, Beauty is her name. Keisha Marie says, "Let's go." Well, okay, Keisha Marie. All right, I got you. We gonna get to it. Keisha Marie a little pushy. Okay. Shirley Divorce finally says, "I need a lot of laughs today. It's my son's birthday. He would have been 36 today." Indeed, Shirley's Divorce finally. We're going to provide you with some laughs. We're going to provide you with a little insight to this here movie. All right. That was a perfect movie in my estimation. And we're going to get you through it today. Okay. Shirley's Divorce finally. We really, really are. Let's see. JMM55 in the building. Hello, JMM55. How are you? Tanya be here. Indeed, be here. Okay. Texas Toy say hit the like button, but don't forget I can take it back, Native. Look, Texas Toy, are you ready to sweat till you stink? That's all I want to know, okay? Miss Mad About Music says I haven't seen the movie, but I'm okay with spoilers. Okay. If you are okay. All right. I mean, because we're gonna talk about this whole movie, Miss Mad. Now, look, last chance. Anybody ain't seen the movie? Yeah, we gonna talk about it. All right. Ella B in the building says, "Hello, everyone. It's hot in Texas. It was hot today. I went out for a little while and it's hot. Uh-huh. Temples Wumble, so I'm not sure about stinking either, but I'm okay with sweating if needed." Why y'all being like this today? Why are y'all being like this today? I don't understand. I don't understand. All right. Are y'all ready to have a in-depth discussion about this movie, y'all? Yeah. 69 in the building says, "Hey, Native and Tribe," and Smokey. Hello, hello, hello. Tanya be here, so I'm going to see it again this weekend. Hopefully, we can give you some insights on some things to pay attention to when you go to see it another time. All right. Now, are y'all ready to talk about this movie? Because I have been waiting to. Hold on, somebody. apparently somebody is here. Hold on. I don't know why people like to come at the last second when you about to do something. Let me see. Let me see who this is. Okay, y'all hold on. Well, look at here. It's Legacy Moon, True Crime and Mysteries.
Hello, hello, hello.
Legacy Moon, True Crime and Mysteries. Did you come over here so that we could talk about this movie? Is that why you're here?
Yep,
Oh
sure
wow.
enough.
Wow. Wow. We got a guest. We got a guest. Our guest is Legacy Moon, True Crime and Mysteries. Legacy Moon came over here to talk about Sinners. Uh-huh. Yep.
Sure did.
Sure did. Sure did.
But
Now,
y'all know what? I told y'all I was the stepwife because you see, I didn't get that wonderful intro like V did with all of the picture flowing and all that. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm all
I
right
don't know.
with
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. You rang the doorbell, I answered it, and now you're here. I don't, I don't know. I don't see the problem. What's the problem? What seems to be the
it.
problem? I mean, you rang the doorbell. I let you in,
Mm,
and and you're here. Okay,
yeah, I'm here. Hmm.
okay. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Okay, all right. Hey Diva Ray, how are you? Is Extra AF is in the house? Okay. All right. It says, well, I'm glad I heard what it was about. No spoiling for me. I had to threaten my kids on Mother's Day. I love y'all. Bye. Okay. All right, Extra F. All right. All right. Thank you for coming in, making a statement, and I guess leaving. I guess that's what I guess that's what happened. Okay. All right. Hey, Diva Ray got flames in the chat. Hello, Diva Ray. How are you? Little Lady D is also in the building. See, folks start to show up when Legacy Moon is here.
Hmm.
See how folks start to show up.
Well, I'm glad somebody loves me. That's all.
I I listen. I love me some Legacy Moon. I ain't gonna lie. I love me some Legacy Moon. Oh wow, a Lady 747 said you were also the bitter wife. Wow, wow.
Yeah.
You're getting the label as the bitter
Yeah.
wife. Good
Wow.
Lord.
Wow.
Wow, wow, wow.
Unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
It's the people you trust, you know? Mhm. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I don't think you're bitter, Legacy Moon. I think you're just misunderstood. Um, Look, Miss 215 is in the house and says, hello, 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 Miss 215. How are you? Yes, can we please get some more likes? Can y'all just make me feel, y'all are really damaging my self-esteem with 9 likes, like for real. Like that's hurting my feelings, okay? That is really hurting my feelings. Nine. That's the best I could do. 9, okay? My goodness, my goodness. Michi3 said, well, let me know who is the first wife. It all came together at the same time, Michi Three. It all came together at the same time. There is no first. There is no first.
If we
Okay.
share, we just share. I got a question. Did you speak to the one, the only black but not bitter? Because I don't remember hearing you
I,
speak to
I
her.
I did speak to my hero. My hero, Black but not bitter, is in the house, and I had to make sure I spoke to Black but not bitter because Black but not bitter said that Michael B. Jordan can get it. That And we're gonna be talking about Michael B. Jordan and his performance in this movie. So I had to make sure that I spoke to Black but not bitter because she said, um, you know, he can get it. That
Well,
what she said. That's a quote. That is a
I'm
quote.
I'm gonna tell you, I don't usually look his way like that, but he was looking awfully tasty in the movie. He was
I'm sorry, he was looking what?
awfully tasty, you know,
He was looking tasty.
tasty. I mean, he just, you know, I'm just
You
saying.
talking about you talking about him?
Hmm. Yeah.
Is this a tasty shot? I'm a man. As a heterosexual man, I cannot refer to another man as tasty. So you're gonna have to tell me. You have to explain it to me.
And then
Okay?
see, I also, I'm not one for all those muscles and stuff, but for whatever reason, it just worked for him. So I rather enjoyed this performance that he did. He
Let
just
me
seemed extra buff.
let me give you let me give you my take on tasty. Do you mind? Can I indulge in a minute for
Oh,
just
I
a
can't
minute?
wait to hear it.
Can I give you my I'm gonna give you my yeah. Perline. Perline, played by Jamie Lawson. All right. If you all saw the movie, then you understand that literally in the movie, she is tasty. I'm just saying. I'm just saying it's literal in the movie. If you know what I'm talking about, okay? All right.
Oh, well, yeah.
Now, this of course is her, not in the movie centers, okay, but and she's glammed up in this shot, of course. But let me give you this is what she was given in the movie. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You,
Mhm.
you see what I'm saying? As a man, now you can have your version of tasty, okay? This here woman right here, this here woman,
Mhm. That's your
this here
woman.
woman, that's I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So, Legacy Moon, what
Mhm.
overall, from top to bottom, start to finish, what did you think about this movie?
From top to bottom, start to finish, it was a good movie. It was really a good movie. Now, I mean, don't ask me why, but I just wish there was a book,
Wow.
that I could have read. But it was a
Right?
good movie. I
Yeah.
liked the theme, the costume, and I really did like the dance scene. I really liked that, the way that was it was infused together. I like that. That was pretty cool. And well, there's a couple other things because I did go back and look at some of it again today. So, but I'll just wait until you get there to talk about some of the things that I saw and some of the the shot, not necessarily the movie, but the shot that they get at the time certain things were going on. I thought was
Mhm.
very creative. And I really enjoyed that because it helped you to see and get the bigger picture of what was really going on. So I like that.
Mhm.
I like that. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
about I don't know anything about photography or filming. I didn't go to film school, but I mean, I know some of those certain shots. What do they call it? Inside, outside shot. I don't know, whatever they call it.
Mhm.
I like
Mhm.
that. But by the way, Michael Not Bitter said both Michael B. Jordans can get it.
There's only one Michael B. Jordan. Like, there's only one. There's only one. There's only one. But I will say, to your point, Black but not better. The way I think that the one thing I haven't heard talked about enough about this movie is the fact that Michael B. Jordan plays both roles, but both of these two men are very different men.
But
So
yeah.
it wasn't just him on the screen twice. It was two separate characters of Smoke and Stack. They had different personalities, they had different outlooks on life, they had different points of view, but they were brothers. So even though they're identical twins, they didn't have identical personalities, which made the playing of both of them a little bit more difficult for one person. So I thought that was just so brilliantly done by Michael B. Jordan. I do think that he is an amazing actor, even before this. But um,
I mean,
I
you
will say,
literally, to me, like when you're watching it, I kind of forgot. Oh wait, that's the same person.
right, right. I mean, even so, the screenshot from what we're looking at right now is, of course, when they first show up on the scene where they're about to buy the juke joint, the old sawmill. And when they pass the cigarette to each other, right? When he hands that cigarette over, that is cinematic gold. Like, do you know how difficult that is for them to get that to actually look like they're passing a cigarette, something so small, to each other, and it looks seamless. And I just
Hmm.
thought Ryan Coogler did an amazing job with just that shot, you
Yeah.
know. AK's F-350 says he did an amazing job depicting two different people. It completely, yeah. And look, give props to Michael B. Jordan, but again, Ryan Coogler in his direction, to make sure that they were two different dudes, no matter what scene you saw them in. So when Smoke goes into town, and when Stack is, when Smoke goes into town and then he runs across Annie a little bit later, versus when Stack is trying to gather up all the booze and the food, the booze and Delta Slim and Sammy and doing all that stuff. It was like two completely different characters on two different missions during the start of of the movie. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, and can you imagine learning a script? You're learning like a whole entire script, but you're learning the script for two completely different people that you're going to be playing at the same time. That I couldn't imagine being able to do that. So that right there shows talent, shows
Right,
true talent. Because I know I
right.
couldn't do it. I could not.
Look, I'm gonna tell y'all, my favorite director, of course, is Ryan Coogler, right? Followed closely by Jordan Peele. But Ryan Coogler, to me, is my favorite storyteller. If you go all the way back to Fruitvale Station, which is a hard watch, but if you go back to Fruitvale Station, the one thing that sticks out about all Ryan Coogler movies is that Ryan Coogler has a way of making dialogue completely realistic. The problem I have with a lot of movies, and I don't know about you, Legacy Moon, but the problem I have with a lot of movies is that when the characters are talking to each other, it seems like you're watching a movie.
Mhm. Yeah.
If you watch anything Ryan Coogler directs, and even in this movie, the dialogue between characters is always realistic. And what that does as a movie watcher, it brings you into the movie. So you feel like I'm not watching a movie, I'm listening to two people talk. And there's a big difference.
Right. Which is why I made the comment about it being a book
Hmm.
because of the way that it was written and the way that it flowed. It just would have it would have been interesting to me to just see how it would have been descriptively and depicted as a book. That's all.
Right.
Even though, I then if there's a book or something, I can't wait for somebody to make a movie of it. But that was
Right.
just it was just like I would still, if they took this and turned it into a book, I would still
Hmm.
buy the book and read it.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many meanings and so many different things to catch
Right.
in this
Right.
movie.
I feel like this movie, I feel like the way that Coogler directs, it is almost like a novel. I would say almost like the way that The Wire is like a novel, where it's giving you bits and pieces. Ryan Coogler never gives you everything all at once. He's going to give you bits and pieces. The way that the movie's set up, where everything is happening in the daytime in order to set up the nighttime, right?
Mhm.
You got, okay, so it's not just we gonna show up at the joint and there's food. No, he's going to show you where the catfish came from. He's going to show you where the alcohol came from. He's going to show you who made the signs. He's going to show you all of these things. When he goes to the shop and you're sitting there watching the movie and you're going, why is this interesting? Why am I watching this part? There are no vampires in this part. You see what I'm saying? Like, there is nothing scary going on in this part. When he's giving the little girl the money to watch his truck, don't let nobody get near this truck. Why am I watching this? But it goes to show you the ruthlessness. It goes to show you the cunning. It goes to show you the business acumen that these brothers have as you're watching them during the daytime. So that way, when the vampires come to the joint at night and they're offering them money, you understand which one of these brothers is going to be more apt to take the money from the vampires, right? And
Right.
which one is more cunning. So
Right.
if you watch when the vampires did come to the door and they looked at them, it was Smoke that kind of had a smile on his face, like, huh, we might be able to get. No, it was Stack that looked at him and said, huh, we might be able to get a little money off of them. But it was Smoke that was like, something wrong. So I think that establishing all of those things at the beginning of our movie is what made the payoff at the end so amazing. And it was just so methodically done. JMM55, thank you so much for the super sticker. She says, spoiler alert. If you don't want the movie to be spoiled, leave now. Cause we ain't really said nothing. We ain't really said not yet, not yet. Snowbird says, "I do not like all Michael B, but I can work through it if the movie is good." Yeah. Well, I tell you what. Creed was good. Fruitvale Station was good. Black Panther was good. Black Panther was more Chadwick Boseman, but of course Michael B. Jordan was there, Killmonger. I haven't seen these two miss. Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler. I haven't really seen it missed. Um, you know, from everything that they've done.
Wait, wasn't he? Was Michael B. Jordan wasn't in the first Panther?
He was in the first Black. He was in both Black Panthers actually.
Oh, okay.
He was in both of them.
Okay, I
He
thought
was
you were saying he wasn't. I was going to say, wait, I swore I saw him.
he was only in one scene in the second one though. In the second one, he was in the scene where Shuri goes to the ancestral plane, and he was there.
Oh, yeah, he was. Okay, all right.
Yeah, but I disagree with him being there though. That's a whole other movie and a whole other topic. But I didn't agree with him being in Black Panther 2. I didn't. I didn't. But that's another topic. But I thought that the ancestral plane should have been another thing. But okay, you know. Texas Toy said he's okay to me, but was so great in this movie, Oscar worthy. Yeah, I actually think that from the time, do y'all remember him in The Wire? Do y'all remember Michael B. Jordan when he was in The Wire? When he was Wallace in The Wire? Y'all remember that little kid?
I
I
didn't.
actually thought have you seen The Wire?
Mm-mm. I'm working on it.
Okay. All right. Um, Michael B. Jordan in season 1 of The Wire was a very. I thought he was a good character. I really did. And I remember thinking like this little kid is going to be a good actor. I remember saying that way back then when he was a little kid and he was Wallace. Yes. And yeah, I thought he was great. I thought he stuck out in that movie, in that show a lot. But guess what, Legacy Mom?
What?
Sonya's Boots has become a member.
Oh, yay! Sonya's Boots has become a member.
Sonya's Boots has become a member, so you know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Break out the drums. Welcome to the tribe, Sonya's Boots. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate you becoming a member of the tribe. Now, Sonya's Boots, we ain't got a lot of rules around here. We really don't. All right. But if you are going to come in and put your feet up, just take your shoes off first. That's all I ask. Okay. But welcome, Sonya's Boots, because Sonya's Boots is the newest member of the tribe. All right. All righty. JMM55 said, I love The Wire. I didn't watch it until the show ended, so I had to binge it. I was hooked. Right. So JMM55, where's Wallace at, String? Where's Wallace, String? Where the fuck is Wallace? I promise you, if I ever see Michael B. Jordan, you know what I'm gonna say to Michael B. Jordan when I see him? Oh, there's Wallace. Oh, there's Wallace. Okay, we found him. Okay. All right. There's Wallace. Okay, we got him. All right. Miss 215 says, I remember when he was on All My Children before The Wire. Do you remember that at all?
I quit watching All My Children when I was a children, so no.
When you was a children? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I think I heard that that's where he started at. I think I heard that, but I didn't. I'm not a soap opera person, so I do remember The Wire, and then I do remember him popping up in some other things, Fantastic Four, which he should not have been in, and some other stuff. But then he, when Creed happened, to me, Creed was up to that point in his career. Not Creed. I'm sorry. Fruitvale Station happened, and I thought Fruitvale Station was just his best work that he had done. So I really, really, really enjoyed him in that. But let's talk Sinners, Legacy Moon.
Well,
Um,
let me also first just say I am so glad that they did not dress them identically because that would have really confused me. It just would have.
you know, it's funny that you say that because that's the problem I had with the Transformers. At the end of Transformers, the first Transformers, I was like, what's going on? Because it was all machines fighting each other, and I couldn't tell which silver machine I was supposed to be rooting for. So at the end of at the end of Transformers, I was like, what the fuck? What is okay, yay or no or oh no, I don't know what's going on. I have no fucking clue what is happening. I have no idea. I, I have no idea. No, I'm serious. I did not know if the good robots won or not because they all looked the damn
Yeah.
same at the end of Transformers. I was like, I have no fucking idea what's going on.
I
I have
mean,
no.
does anybody think about it? Does anybody really think about that when they're doing things like that? So that's why I thought this was so genius that they are not dressed identical because I just wouldn't be able to keep up if they were. I there would have been no way. So,
I think I get it, but I do think that the way that Michael B. Jordan played it, I think that their personalities were different enough that if they were, that you'd be able to tell, just like twins in real life. You can know twins in real life, and you can see them, and they can be dressed the same or similar, or see them in different places, and you
mhm,
can tell who is who just by the personality. And
right.
I think Michael B. Jordan as Smoke, I think Smoke had a more serious affect than Stack. I think, like, even in this picture that we're looking at right here, if you look at which one has the more serious, face to him, it's Smoke. And then
Yeah.
Stack is over here like, yeah, like, like, nah, we cousin. You know what I'm saying? Y'all twins? Nah, we cousins. Yeah, and I think that was done on purpose, but definitely definitely the color palette on the two of them was a little bit different, I believe.
Okay, I'm convinced there's something wrong with Tex Toy because she says Optimus Prime can get it. Okay, and I
Mhm.
don't, I don't, I
Yeah.
don't, I don't understand.
Yeah.
And Bevy C says Wallace's death broke my heart.
Oh, baby C, baby C. Oh my God. Don't make me break out into my wire. Okay, I'm not gonna go into a whole wire rant about this, but I will say that it was kind of funny that they that that Bodie and Poot was able to unalive Wallace, and then when the thing happened where you go into season 4, and now all of a sudden Bodie got a problem with people getting murdered, and I'm like, dude, you murdered your own friend, and now you got a problem with look Kevin. And if y'all ain't seen The Wire, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you have seen The Wire, you know what I'm talking about. Now all of a sudden, when look Kevin, something happened to him. Now all of a sudden, you got a problem, and I'm like, that kind of came full circle. So, but Debbie C, you're right. Wallace, I didn't think Wallace deserved that. I didn't. I didn't. No, I did not. But anyway, so if you haven't seen it, Legacy movie, when you see it, you'll be like, oh, that, that's okay, yeah, okay,
There's going to be
oh,
a lot of O's when I watch it.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. AK's F-350 says, yeah, Smoke was more serious. They say he smiled only once, and Stack was more jovial, and he had to be watched, according to Smoke, who was the older brother, right? Um, now, okay, so check this out. So my first observation, even in this still shot that we're looking at right here, is that if we wanted to show a divide between the two, I think Smoke kind of represents a little bit of the devilish side. I mean, I'm sorry, Stack. I keep getting them mixed up. Stack represents kind of the devilish side. He has on the red. He is more to be watched. And I think Smoke, in all his seriousness, was the protector, more of the angel. So I think that if you had to go angel, devil, I think Smoke was the angel and Stack was more devilish.
Mhm. Yeah.
if we were to draw those distinctions.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at this I'm staring at this picture because you are right, actually. I never thought of it that way, but the color coordination, um the blue representing more light, and then the red
Mhm.
representing more, I guess, mischievous, you can say. You're
Correct.
right about that. I never
Yeah.
I didn't think of it, good observation, because I didn't think about that watching it.
It was the first thing that stuck out to me. Let me tell y'all something. Directors do things on purpose. Okay. When a director is telling you a story, it's just like when Ernesto is telling you a story. Okay. So
Okay.
when Ernesto is telling you a story, right? He's lying on purpose. Like it's not an accidental lie. At no point when Ernesto Williams says something to you is he lying by accident, right? He's on purpose lying to you so that way he can paint the picture he wants you to see. Now, Ryan Coogler, more articulate, more talented, more everything that Ernesto's not, right? When he's telling a story in any one of his movies, he is everything that you're seeing in front of you is done on purpose. Every shot, every frame. That's why you can rewatch his movies and catch something different every time because you might have missed a shot or a frame and a reference, but then that second time or that third time that you've seen it, you'll get it. So I believe, like I said, with the colors are on purpose when he does that. And I think that this shot illustrates that. Now, Texas Toy says, but Smoke was the trigger happy one. I'm not going to say he was trigger happy.
He just didn't
When
play.
he didn't play, he was a protector. So when did he pull his guns, Texas Toy? Let's look at it. He pulled his guns in two pivotal scenes. In the scene where he comes in and he sees that his brother has been mutilated and eaten by a damn monster, right? He pulls his guns. Boom, boom, boom. He pulls his guns against the Ku Klux Klan, which, by the way, when the Ku Klux Klan gets shot at the end, I was the only one clapping in the movie because apparently I was the only one in the movie that didn't have a problem with the Ku Klux Klan getting shot. Okay. So I had to have people looking at me like, what you clapping for? And I'm saying, why you not clapping? A bunch of Klansmen just got murdered. I'm just saying. Just saying. I'm just saying, y'all. All right. But Texas Toy, those were the times when he actually was trigger happy, right? I mean, he pulled his gun out on Sammy, or did he hit Sammy with the gun? I think he hit Sammy with the gun. But I mean,
When?
again, well, when he was trying to get Pearline to eat the garlic, and Sammy kept saying like, "Oh man, she just," and he was like, "Man, boom," and he just hit him.
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay, yeah, okay.
yeah. But but Yeah, but again, he pulled his gun against the small time thieves, protecting his stuff. Okay, so Texas Toy, when I think of trigger happy, right, and I think of people that shoot at random, right. At no point did Smoke ever pull his gun in this movie where it wasn't in the name of protecting somebody or something. He was protecting his property from these people that was stealing from him. He was trying to protect his brother from the monster, and he definitely was protecting like his property when he was shooting up them damn Klansmen, which I was the only one that clapped during that scene. How come nobody else clapped during that scene? Shit. I'm just saying. Look, okay, oh wait, hold on. Miss Lady said, "Child, we were clapping and popping our fans when he was shooting at the Klan." Thank you, Miss Lady. Thank you. All right, I'm glad to know I'm not the only one that was having a good time when he pulled them guns out and was chopping them Klansmen down. I mean, they ain't know what to do. Get in the car, get in the car. Oh no, oh no. I was just having a great time. I was having a great time. Oh my God. Legacy Moon, did you have a good time during that scene? Because I definitely did. I definitely did.
But you know what? There was never a doubt or a question in my mind that he was going to get them all. I just didn't know how he was going to do it, because I tell you, when he carried the box out there with the guns that he buried, I remember him telling Sammy to, make sure you bury that guitar. So that's what I thought that was. I said, "Oh, he's giving him a box to put the guitar in," and it wasn't until the scene, the gun scene, and he, when he's running out of ammo, he gets that gun out. That's all. I said, "Oh, that's what that was." Okay. So, but it was for me. I knew he was gonna get them all, just didn't know how.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
now we know there won't be a part two to the movie either. So.
No, but we can talk a little bit about spinoffs because I do think that there could be a spinoff to this movie. I'm gonna give y'all my idea of what that could be, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, before we do that, can we talk about my favorite character? And it wasn't Pearline. Okay, can we talk about my favorite character?
Okay, if
You
it
know,
wasn't Pearline, who
you,
was it?
you know who my favorite character was. Let me. This is my favorite character right here. Right here,
Oh, I love that guy. I love that
Delta
guy.
Slim is my favorite character in the whole movie. Okay, Delta Slim. Delta Slim was my favorite character. And I'm gonna tell you why. Delta Slim to me felt the most real. If I had to reach into this movie and pull out a actual person, it's him. It's him. Musician, alcoholic, obviously, right? Super talented at what he's done, at what he does, and has been through a lot. Okay, has been through a lot. When he tells that story in the car with Sammy and Stack, and he talks about it. Which, by the way, if you all have not seen this movie in a theater with very good sound, with very good speakers, with Dolby and all that stuff, you got to go see it because it's not just the visuals of this movie that's incredible. It's the sound. Um, it's the sound engineering on this movie as well. Because when he's telling that story, there's actually you can hear what's going on in the background in his mind. You can hear the prison. You can hear the prisoners yelling, and you can hear all that stuff while he's telling that story. And I think that's a very very good detail that was put into the movie that about this man. But Delta Slim felt like the realest character to me.
What? Okay, when he was telling that story, and could you hear a clanking of the cup up against the bars of
That's
like,
exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you have to watch the movie in a theater
okay,
that gives you that clear sound because the first movie theater I went to go see it in, I missed a lot because it didn't have good audio in the movie theater. So I missed a lot. Now the second time that I saw it, I caught a lot more audio cues, from the movie than I did the first time. So the second viewing was a lot better. I heard everything that I was supposed to be hearing in that second one.
yeah, because when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's incredible. And then I wondered, I was like, did I? I mean, I knew I heard it, but I was like, did he really include that in there? Because the way that it just happened and flowed with the story. So yeah, yeah, okay, I like that. That was good. That really was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was. It was. AK F-350 said Delroy did this so well, especially considering he's a British born to Jamaican parents. He gave me a true Southern Black American man.
I
Um,
did not know that until today. I found that out. I did not know that. I would have never known.
yeah, yeah. No, he is definitely slept on. I feel like because I feel like everything that he's in, he brings a sense of authenticity. Even in Malcolm X, of course, where he was West Indian Archie, and to me, he played the shit out of that character. I ain't gonna lie, West Indian Archie was terrifying. You know, absolutely terrifying. And then I didn't even believe him at the end when Malcolm X came to see him, and he was like, "I wasn't gonna kill you, Red. I was just trying to protect my rep." I'm like, nah, nigga, you look like you about to kill him to me. Okay. I was just trying to scare you, Red. I was just trying to scare you. Yeah. Malcolm X better than me because I would have pushed him down. I would have pushed him down. Ain't gonna lie. I would have pushed him down.
Come get me now.
Right. Definitely. But definitely my favorite character. Who was your favorite character in the movie?
Well, I mean, this will probably actually surprise you.
Hmm.
But my favorite character was Cornbread.
The fat nigga from 8 Mile. You would like the fat nigga from 8 Mile. Okay. Yeah. you you would like the fat nigga from 8 Mile.
Yeah. But I just really like him as an actor, and he's very good at becoming the role that he's playing too. So yes, he was my favorite. You didn't, I mean, he didn't have a really big part or anything, but he was my favorite. He was. He
Why
just
did you like? Can you have to explain to me why you like cornbread? Like for real?
Because he just, he just was a nice. I mean, there he was in the field working. Him and his pregnant wife, and they was picking cotton, and he went to go get some money and work in the club, and he's just a big adorable dude. That's all. That's all.
So
And
did
plus, and then I liked it because he could be serious about his job, especially when that man came up there and owed him $2, and he wanted to know where his $2 was, and he grabbed him up. Wonder how much $2 really was back then. Like, what could you buy with it?
two
Yeah,
dollars was like $2 was like $300,000 back then? Okay, like $2, you could buy a house, you could get a land, you could get a mule for the land, you could get seeds for feed, you could do all type of shit with $2 back then. I mean, $2 was a lot.
but
It's the equivalent of today's $300,000. Yes.
he was. Well, let me say this. I won't say he was my favorite. I will say he was my honorable mention. My actual favorite was Smoke's girlfriend or wife or whatever she was to him. What was she?
Mary?
No. Wait a minute.
Oh, Annie.
Yeah, Annie. Yes, Annie. Yes.
Okay.
See, now you're getting me confused of Smoke and Stack. But yeah, Annie. Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on. Okay, so Annie. Hold on. Let me see. So,
The black the the black lady.
yeah.
Yeah,
Annie. Okay, so Annie.
I couldn't remember her name. I thought it was Annie, but I
Mhm.
wasn't sure. She
Yeah,
she
no,
if
it
I
is.
if I picked a favorite, she would be my
Mhm.
favorite, and Cornbread is my honorable mention.
So let's talk Annie for a quick second, okay? Because I thought Annie was a very interesting character, and I think like one of the things that makes Sinners such a great movie is the way that it develops its characters, and I love the way that Annie loved Smoke. I thought this was a great love story in the middle of this horror movie, right? You got Annie, who has just been like, mourning the loss of her child, right? Trying to figure out where Smoke disappeared to in Chicago. And in all of that time, doing everything that she was doing, just living her life, doing her hoodoo thing. And, Smoke appears back in her life again, and she never stopped loving this dude. Like, never stopped loving him. I thought it was an amazing love story. I thought that the story arc with him and losing the child and having to deal with that, you know, um, I thought it was heartbreaking when he said, I've been to war and I've been all around the world and all this stuff. And, I ain't never seen nobody do no hoodoo and all this other stuff. And then she says that I gave you the protection amulet. And he said, well, how come it didn't protect my baby?
Hmm. Yeah.
That hit every single time I saw it. I saw the movie 3 times, and it hit all 3 times that I saw it.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
thought I thought that was just heartbreaking,
And
and an understandable question too. You know what I mean?
It is an understandable question that I could probably answer, but I will say this. I like the fact that she was that they had, first of all, that approach in the movie as well. So you getting it for, we've got the church, we've got Hoodoo Annie, we've got I guess you would call them gangsters. I guess you had some of everything in this movie, but what I liked about her part is you didn't see a whole lot of, because usually when you have a hoodoo woman or something like that in these movies, you just always see a bunch of scary and just all this stuff that makes you go ooh. But with her, you just saw what it really is. That's what you saw. And I like the way that the character was portrayed. I like the way that she
Mhm.
was portrayed. I think it did an honor to people who are in that practice, because often it's not portrayed that way. It's often not.
Mhm.
So I really like that. And when I want to mention this, because when she said something to the effect of, she used like every day, she was doing something to protect them while they were
Mhm.
in Chicago every day,
Mhm.
which kind of, if you think back to everyone who wants to make Nesto seem like some sort of wizard,
Mhm.
that here that not justifies, I'll say, but clarifies that these are things you don't just do these things like one time and ooh, you're a wizard. It's a practice.
Mhm.
And so for those who follow the Nesta Williams story, who thinks that he is still some sort of wizard, maybe that could help you to see that it's just more to it than that.
Definitely more complicated than Nesto could comprehend or could or and again, my thing is the discipline, right? You have to
Hmm.
have the intention, the discipline, and all this stuff. And
Hmm.
so when you see Annie, and I think this is why when I saw this, I really wanted you to see this, because I think like the way that they did this, they did have a if I'm not mistaken, they had a consultant on set for the Annie character. But I think that the way that we oftentimes stereotype people that do this sort of thing, right? They're evil, they're wicked, they're doing all this stuff. Annie had the most love out of anybody in the movie.
Hmm.
Like there was more love emanating out of Annie than any other character, right? So it kind of broke that stereotype, that stereotypical hoodoo woman. I mean, when we first see her, she's giving things to the children to go take to their parents and all the stuff like that, right? So
Right.
I think it was like, I think the way they did handle her with care. I think AK's F350 said that character was handled with care. The character was well thought out, you know, and like I said, to me, probably had the most love out of everybody, you
Right.
know.
Lex Rich said in that scene, her response was in whispers of the ancestors. That was powerful to me. Excuse me. Annie was the character that I identified with and admired. I too would love um, this book as a series. Ah, see, I'm not the only one. So yeah, she was the way that she was, and there were subtle things that she picked up on, like when Cornbread was at the door and he
Mhm,
wanted to be invited in, because you're taught that evil has to be invited in. It just doesn't come through your door. It has to be
mhm,
invited in. So this is why everybody wanted an invitation. Nobody would come in. They needed to be invited, and he needed to be invited. And I like the way wait a minute, why you can't just, you're a big man, why can't you just come
mhm.
through the door? Why can't you knock us down? And he had to have that invitation. So she picked up on those things, as well as predicting her own death.
Yeah, yeah, and what to do in that circumstance,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
And I
not to
like,
come.
oh, and by the way, when she said that, no, these are not haints, they're vampires. So I don't know if people know what a haint is. I'm not sure.
If the people don't, please tell them.
I mean, because I don't want to tell people stuff that they don't know. But it's like it's kind of sort of like a ghost, but in the practice and the belief of hoodoo, it's more like a witch-like creature seeking to, um, like chase you to death or scare you to death or whatever you to death is what it is. In case for people who don't know that or didn't know that.
It's a to me, it's an old word, right? Like the only time I've ever heard that word being used is in like when older people are talking about ghosts and things.
Hmm.
They use it. So if you watch like an old movie, you'll hear them say if it has to do with ghosts, they'll say, they talk about Hanks, and I'm like, what is that? And come to find out that that was just a way that they refer to things like that, right? When it came down to
But
different things.
I guess ghosts are meant to scare you too. I guess, but like a Hank really wants to scare you to death. Like
Hmm.
that's their end goal. Or
Right.
the I think also a Hank are the people who no, maybe not. Let me not say that because I might be wrong. I think I might be wrong too about adding that part in. So.
Yeah. I just thought that she was very intuitive. I thought and it's funny because I thought that I feel like the way that a lot of these characters were built and the way that this story was built around these characters was that everybody had a role to play. Everybody did what they did. And I thought Annie's role was super duper duper important, right? Now, that being said, Legacy Moon,
Hmm.
what you think about this heifer right here? Hold on, let me make her a little bit bigger.
can,
What you think about this heifer right here?
can let me mention one more thing about Annie. Usually, when we see characters such as Annie in films, we see them throwing, using cards, tarot cards,
Hmm.
or at best, if we like I don't know if you've seen the movie The Woman King, where they
Hmm.
were throwing the bones.
Yes.
This is the first time I've ever seen in a movie where they did charm casting, because when
Hmm.
she predicted, she was charm casting. And that's the first time I've ever seen that in a movie. So, I mean, they just really did a great honor to the practice of hoodoo. But this one right here,
Hmm.
I looked her up because I wanted to know what she was, because she actually portrayed that part pretty good.
Hmm.
I thought so. I wanted to know what was her ethnic background. So I looked her up, and she's part Jewish, I think Jewish, Filipino, and like she's got a grandfather who's Filipino and black or something like that. I just wanted to know. I just had to, because I was like, wait a minute. She's doing. How we have some, like we might see a Dakota Fanning playing a white girl trying to be black or whatever, even though this
Hmm.
was supposed to be a mixed race girl. I
Hmm.
thought, I was like, wait a minute, her pronunciation of words is just a little too good. So I said, let me look her up. And so I did that. But anyway, her character,
Hmm.
I have I actually liked her character. I'm more of a villain. You know,
Hmm.
in the movies, everybody wants the good people to win. I'm always kind of for the villain just because
Hmm.
that's how messed up I am. But I liked her. I liked her character. I thought she did a good job, and she was kind of like a I'm not giving up. She loved that man, and that man is who she loved, and that man is who she wanted, and she ain't care. She ain't want to be white, she ain't want none of that, she ain't want to be rich, she wanted that man. So I have to give it to her for the stick with itness that she had.
The only thing that I liked her for was when he said, "I'll have one of these women hold you or whatever," and she said, "I'll beat every bitch in this club." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
hold on, wait, wait, hold on. What did I just? Wait, what she just said? Wait, hold on. What she said? She said she'll beat every bitch in here. What? No, this white girl didn't say that. No, she didn't. No, she didn't.
And then I
No,
gotta
she didn't.
say, I was just waiting for any moment of her to say, "Let me through. That's my mama." Because boy, was she looking like Sarah Jane. I said, why she look just
Mm.
like Sarah Jane? And I was just wait, I couldn't focus because I'm like, I'm just any moment. "Yeah, Sarah Jane, you know I love you." I was just waiting for that, just waiting. Cause don't she look like that, y'all? If y'all saw Imitation of Life, she just like Sarah Jane. But I
Yeah,
thought she did a good job. She did a very good
li-
job.
like a grown-up version of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. That's kind of funny that you said that, but yeah, that is true. That is very true. I thought that let me tell you, I love the distinction that they made between these two brothers and the women that they loved. Right? They obviously both loved their partner. So Smoke and Annie, and then Stack and Mary. Right? And I think that the way that both of their stories ended was kind of telling too, where um, they both ended up loving their partners forever. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Stack and Mary became vampires and could never die. So they're immortal. So their love became immortal, right? But then
Mm-hmm.
you had Smoke and Annie, yeah, Smoke and Annie, and they ended up being together in the afterlife forever, for eternal. So I thought that it was very, very interesting the way that both of them, even though they had different types of relationships, because I don't think Stack intended to fall in love with Mary. And I think that's basically what she laid out, when she was talking to him. And he couldn't deny how he felt about her. So even and then you go back to Smoke and Annie, where it was just like they were separated by these things. What was the thing that came between them?
Mm-hmm.
Um and but at the end of the day, at the end of the movie, they both ended up having the loves of their lives and being with those people forever. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was really poignant. Which is why I said that I didn't really consider this to be a horror movie. Delroy Lindo said he didn't consider it to be a horror movie. I mean, like, I just didn't. I felt like it was just it's honestly a love story at the end of the day. You know what I mean? That last scene where Annie is holding the baby and breastfeeding the baby, and Smoke is about to come with them at that last second, was so, like, I'm not gonna say that I was about to cry because man card, but but it was a touching scene and a touching way for that character, that story arc, to end. I thought. Carlise Burke, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, glad I caught this discussion. I'm loving my native tribe candles and mouse pad. I thought I was the only one that still used one. I don't know how many people use mouse pads, Carlise Burke, but I'm so glad that you have one that says Native Tribe Urban Media on it, though. Okay, and thank you so much for ordering from the Native Tribe shop. I do appreciate that. And thank you for being here. And thank you for the super chat. Okay. Carlise Burke, of course, is our resident Hollywood person. She be in all the stuff. Okay. She
Yeah.
be in all, she be in all the stuff. Let me see what the comments are. Jet Black Straight says, so they left room for a spinoff with Mary. Let me tell you what I want to see. All right. Not that Ryan Coogler gives a fuck about what Native Tribe wants to see. Okay. But let me tell you what I want to see. They came back at the end. If you all remember the cutscene at the end, right? Where they're in the club with Sammy, and Stack and Mary come in, and it's 1992. I want to see either a series or a movie telling what happened from that night all the way up to 1992. I think that would be a fascinating movie, with them moving through the different decades as vampires, right? Like, who all did they bite? What all did they do? Because they had to have been doing something in order to still be alive, right? The vampires have to feed. So I think that the Stat character and Mary, from 1932 to 1992, what happened during those 60 years would be a great, great movie. That's just me. If anybody knows Ryan Coogler and want to give him my idea, I'd be more than happy to help him write the script for it. Okay. All right. I'm just
Well,
saying, just putting it out there.
a spinoff can be a spinoff and it can include all of the same characters
Hmm.
because Okay, wait a minute. Smoke. Okay, Smoke and Annie. Okay,
Hmm.
they are now walking amongst the ancestors. So
Hmm.
if you look at it that way, and then you look at those who walk amongst the vampires, you could see that they all can come back.
Hmm.
The ones, like, if they were became, because remember, Mayor, did they kill Pearline? Did they actually get her in the heart?
Yeah, well, yeah, the sun got Pearline at
Okay,
the end.
that's
The
did
sun got
but did it? Did it? I
the sun
remember
got
her
Pearline.
turning. I remember her
The
getting
sun,
bitched.
the sun got Pearline. Trust me, I know.
Well,
Trust me,
okay.
I was
I will
keeping up with
trust you.
Pearline.
I'm sure
Okay,
you kept your eye on her, so never mind.
I
Okay, the
actually
sun
did.
got
Yeah.
her. Yeah,
Mhm,
you have
yes.
to wonder. Um, um, what's his, the musician? Gosh, what is this? The one Delroy, the one
Oh,
he
yeah, that's a Slim. Yeah.
right. Okay, so
Mhm.
like he sacrificed himself inside, but we don't know. Did he change? Did he not? So it could come, like, all of these people could come back except for Pearline. Okay. And we
Yeah.
don't know what happened. Now we know the Chinese lady whose name I just never knew through the whole film. I don't know
Right.
why. But and it took me to look at that again to realize that she was on fire and she killed her own self. But
Mhm.
we don't know what happened to the daughter. It's so many different things. So yeah, some people can come back. Some people can come back, and it could be a sequel.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely room. Um, there is definitely room to go back and explore um, more of these things. Of course, if Ryan Coogler decided that that's what he wanted to do. But listen, hold on, let me see something real quick. Where am I at? Where am I at? I'm doing 5 different things in the background. Hold on, let me see. Um, can we just real quick, as we're talking about these characters, right? Can we really quickly just talk about this young man? Hold on, let me get these people off the screen real quick, okay? Because I honestly have to tell you all that I did not know. Hold on. Okay, go back. There we go. Go back one more time. And now we're gonna take them off the screen. And I just want to talk about this young man right here. Okay. Do you all realize this was his first movie? Do you all realize that Sammy was his first movie? Like we're not talking about an experienced actor. We're not talking about somebody that's done a million movies and been in a million things. This was his first movie. Miles Clanton is his name, and he plays Sammy. And when I tell you one of the best first performances, I dare you to find somebody first performance,
How old
right?
is he?
That's a good
He
question.
look
That
like
is
a teenager. Oh my
um,
god.
Yeah, Justin's mom said he was amazing. He was awesome, and I am a blueberry muffin said he was excellent. I mean, we're talking about, like, I've seen you know when you go on a set of a movie, right? When you go on a set of a movie, you see experienced actors like fucking up their lines all over the place, right? you see you see some stuff, and you be like, "But I thought you did movies before, right?" But this guy and his presence, like his presence on the screen. The only black man I better say he's 20.
wasn't
Um,
wasn't he an incredible or an impossible or something in a TV? Wasn't he in a TV show or something, or like a voice or something? Does anybody
n-
know?
not that I know of.
What is
Not
his Okay, I'm gonna look him up. Let me look.
not that I know of.
Mm.
But I will say this. Um, Justin's mom said he has a wonderful voice. In an interview he was saying that he went to, I think it was Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken. He went to Pennsylvania like a couple times a week, training for the singing and the guitar playing and all that stuff, to be able to do that, because people don't, whether you realize it or not, when you are performing and you're like holding an instrument, that's a whole other discipline that you got to learn. So, but he went and he learned and he got, as you all know from watching the movie, he killed this part. I mean, absolutely murdered this part. And I think that it's important to be able to recognize how good this guy was, man. This guy was great in this movie. I mean, he really was.
Okay. He. Okay. Oh, wait. I'm reading his little. Okay. He first came to national prominence on Little Big Shots in 2018. Little Big Shots. Wasn't that was a singing show, wasn't it?
I have no idea what that is. I
Little,
have no idea what that is.
Little Big Shot. It's a British TV series. Okay. That's what it says it is. Well, wait a minute. That can't be right. No, because this is. Yeah, I was. Okay. All right. Never mind. Keep going. Keep going.
Um, Jet Black Straight. So I only saw his credits mention a gospel special. Yeah, yeah. No, he look. Yeah, no, he's not been. This is his first thing. This is his first thing. This is the first thing he's done, and he is. I mean, as far as like the audition and how he got the role, and the fact that I don't know who did the casting for this movie, but whoever decided that this man needed to be in the movie, a plus, 5 star. They did a great job casting for this because he knocks it out the park. When I tell you, like the range. Let's think about the range that he had to display in this movie, right? The range had to be um, humble gospel kid, right? Preacher's kid, PK. All right. He's a PK, but he's hanging with his big cousins and he wants to sing gospel. But then the gospel music turns out to be something that summons something evil. So now he's turning into from gospel singer to wannabe blues singer to survivor, right? He's got to survive the night now. And he has to now kill these vampires, right? And now go back to his church, right, to be possibly judged by his father and told to leave the music that he loves alone and then run away from it all and get his ultimate freedom by playing the blues for the rest of his life. That is a lot of range for one character for a first time actor. That's a lot.
I might have to go back and listen to him again. So, did y'all telling me that he's? Would you say 20? That he has a nice, strong voice for 20. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to him sing that song again.
I'm trying to look. I'm trying to tell you that this boy, like the thing about it, and that's the reason why I'm talking about him right now, is because who else at the age of 20 could give a performance like this
Yeah.
on this level?
Mm-hmm.
Insanely good, insanely talented. The only black but not better said Coogler handpicked the lead actors. Okay, so the casting was done by Coogler. Damn, he do everything. He wrote, directed. I'm surprised he ain't in the background in a couple scenes. But
Well, I'm sure. Although you failed to mention, I'm sure you liked old Miss Pearline singing too. I'm sure. And her
we ain't
call.
even
Oh,
we ain't even got
okay.
why am I not allowed to like Pearline? I
I'm
don't
not.
understand.
You can. I'm just
I
saying.
don't understand why I'm not allowed to like Pearline. Can you explain that to me? Like, can anybody explain why Pearline can be liked by me? I just don't understand. I mean, like, look, I'm just saying. Hold on, hold on? Can we do this one more time? Why can't I like Pearline?
You can like old Pearline.
Okay,
Pearline. You can like
I'm just,
Pearline.
I'm asking the question because it seems to be a problem with me liking Pearline, and y'all
Mm-mm.
can be all on Michael B. Jordan. You know what I'm saying? How come the man in the room can't the man in the room can't have a crush, but y'all can be crushing all well, Michael B. Jordan can get it, and Optimus Prime can get it. And everybody, I'm like, whoa. Pearline can get it. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Can we even the playing field just a little bit?
Yeah, whatever.
Shit.
Whatever.
Man, what's wrong? What seems to be the problem? What seems to be the problem?
No problem at all. No problem at
Okay,
all.
yeah, okay, all right. I'm just saying. Okay, all right. So listen, on the opposing side, right? We had the vampires. Okay, and what did look? I thought when the first vampire, and I love this, right? We had everything that happened during the daytime, right? We putting the crew together. We got cornbread gonna do security at the door. We got Delta Slim is going to play the piano, right? We got we done went to the Chinese, and we got the fish, and we got the sign, which by the way was painted in red. Okay, we got all the things ready for this juke joint to open. Okay, all of this happened during the day. We secured the building during the day, right? And then as the sun is going down, what happens?
Dun,
We get
dun. Oh, I'm sorry.
we get our first vampire, Remick. Remick comes into the scene.
Oh, he had a name? I didn't know.
He had a name.
Thought he was just a vampire.
Yeah, he had a name. His name was Remick.
Okay,
Okay,
Rennick.
Remick was Irish. Okay, Remick was Irish, and Remick was Irish on purpose. Um,
Yeah.
I thought that was a very um, interesting choice. One thing I will say again about Ryan Coogler. Again, I am a Ryan Coogler fan. If you all don't know, okay, he chose Jack O'Connell to do this role, and I thought Jack O'Connell did a great job. Right, but Ryan Coogler does his due diligence when it comes to the characters. He's not just willy nilly putting things in a movie. So if we want to look at like the history of the Irish in America and the things that Irish people have been through in America, I think that it's a very fitting choice that he would use um, the Irish to come in and want to take over or try to terrorize the black people, right?
Hmm.
Um, Also thought it was an interesting choice using the song "Pick Poor Robin Clean."
Yeah.
I
Wait.
pick poor Robin clean.
Okay. Yeah, he came on the scene, right? Are we? Have you just not mentioned? You're going to mention the Indians?
I am. I'm gonna
Okay.
mention the Choctaw. I'm gonna mention the Choctaw briefly. The Choctaw was like, "Look, we're looking for this guy," and the white people were like, "Yeah, get away from our property." And the Choctaw was like, yeah, okay, you can have that."
Sundown. Gotta go. Sun going down. Gotta go.
Hey, all right, you're probably gonna regret this, but okay. We know he came here, but okay, that's what y'all.
He's not
That,
what he seems. Yeah, we gotta go. Oh, okay, gotta go. Bye.
that was so funny when it was like, "Hey, come on, let's go." Okay, well, all right. Be careful.
Got on their horses and rode away, boy. They was in there a good what 10 seconds with
He
that
was at
ten
the door. He
seconds
was like,
counted.
"Well, can't tell these dummies nothing, so I guess we'll just go on ahead and go on about my business because I don't know what the hell else to do." Okay, y'all have fun with that. He's a whole demon. Okay, he's a whole demon. But I did no. I thought it was very interesting the way that they did bring him into the movie. It was as suddenly as the sun was going down, right? And I remember somebody asking why was he smoking? He was smoking like that because
He was in.
he was running from them in the daylight.
Yeah,
Like the daylight was really getting to him at that moment. So he was still smoking. So him the way that he kind of like just came from out of nowhere
right.
and came to these people's house. Now, what I really want you all to pay attention to, if you did not pay attention to this, is that when they opened the door and they were trying to figure out who he was, He looked past them and saw the Klan robes. And when he saw the Klan robes, he then changed his tactics. What he initially tried to say to them was that, oh, there's these Choctaw Indians and they're following me, and can y'all help me? And they were like, no, get away from our door. Then he saw the Klan uniforms behind them. He saw the hood, right? And when he saw that, he changed tactics and he changed it to money because he knew that that's what the Klan was all about. He changed his entire tactic and said, well, here, I got this money and I'm more than happy to give it to you. So here you go. And that's how he got in.
Justin's
And I
mom
thought
said the Choctaws said, "Okay, be blessed," and left.
that, exactly. Exactly.
But
Um,
also, can I just also say that it was just real interesting. The cabin or the house looked just like it was supposed to, a cabin, but it's funny how brightly that Klan uniform shine.
oh
That
yeah.
was the cleanest thing in there was that Klan uniform, all hung up and everything, just ready to go.
Right. Right. Um, Jet Black Straight said, Native, do you think we could have seen more of the Native American characters? No. Let me tell you why, Jet Black Straight. I feel like the Native American characters, the Choctaw Indian characters in this movie, played the role that Black people play in these movies, okay? They knew what the hell it was. They got the hell out. You know how when we talk about, we used to talk about like if Black people was in a house and they heard a ghost, they wouldn't stay around and try to figure out who the ghost was and where it came from. We would just leave, right? I feel like the Choctaw Indians in this movie was like, fuck y'all. The sun's going down. We know they're vampires. We gonna let y'all figure out that they're vampires. Okay, that's how I feel like it was perfect. I feel like it was perfect. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, there's a very dangerous man. Get off our property. All right then. Like, y'all gonna get bit. Shit, not us. Hell, we finna go light a fire, okay? And we finna go here and we finna
Yeah.
roast these chickens and shit, and we gonna let y'all figure out this vampire shit.
Mhm.
That's so I feel like like Justin's mom said, deuces. Like I
Be blessed. Okay.
be blessed. Shit. No, the Choctaw, I thought it was perfect. Okay. We tried to tell you, get out, do what you gotta do. These motherfuckers dangerous. We out. And they got on their shit and they rode off. You know,
Mhm.
and and I feel like if they would have been I don't feel like it would have been realistic if they would have like jumped in and saved the day at the end or some shit like that. Like, nah, we out. We out. We tried to tell you motherfuckers, but we out.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing when we talk about like them people that was protesting Trump. What was that at the beginning of April or whatever? And black
Mhm.
people was like, "Fuck this shit." We tried to tell y'all we ain't protesting shit.
Mhm. Because
That's
they
basically Choctaw
right.
in this movie. We tried
Right.
to tell you motherfuckers, we gone, we out.
Mhm.
Peace.
Yeah, we knew what it was. You ain't know what it was? Okay, well, we tried to tell you.
So I feel like, but I do feel like that. I think somebody said that everybody's culture was represented. I do feel like that everybody's culture was indeed represented well. I felt like like the story, like I said, the story totally made sense. But I wanted to kind of go over. I think, like I said, when filmmakers make a movie, everything is on purpose, right? And "Pick Poor Robin Clean" was the song that they were singing um, at the door of the juke joint when they were trying to get in. Okay. Um, Pick Poor Robin Clean is a real song, y'all. Pick Poor Robin Clean is an old blues song from the 1920s. It's a song about struggle because if you've ever seen a robin, and let me tell y'all, when I go take my camera to Stone Mountain, robins for whatever reason follow me. I don't know why. I took a picture of a robin. I showed it to Legacy Moon. I said, Legacy Moon, these damn robins, like every time I go, These robins are just like, are just all over me. Back then they didn't know me. Now I'm hot. They all on me. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, um, so the song, if you've ever seen a robin, you know that a robin is not like a chicken. A robin is a very small bird, right? So the song is about struggling and starving and having to survive off of nothing, right? So you've got these three vampires, right? And they are literally hunting and settling on this big juke joint that's full of black people who are they're not the biggest birds, you know what I'm saying? Like if you think about it, they could have went a lot of other places in the Mississippi Delta and probably had more lavish people to pick on, right? That's not what they did. They went to the black juke joint. They went to the place where there were sharecroppers and where there were farmers and people like Cornbread who couldn't get their wife to give them sex properly because they didn't make enough money. I didn't say that. That's what the hell Stack said, okay? That's what he said. So when they come out there to sing this song, um, I picked Poor Robin Clean. I picked Poor Robin Clean, right? Um, I picked the head, I picked the feet, I would have picked the body, but it wasn't fit to eat.
Yeah, because it's not much to it.
Right. Very, very, very symbolic of these vampires sitting outside of a black juke joint waiting to quote unquote pick these robins clean. Mary said when she turned, "We gonna kill all y'all." See that summed
When
that
she
summed
ran out,
everything up.
yeah, because
That summed
wasn't Annie asking Sammy said she said what exactly did she say when she
who?
was running out? Annie had asked Sammy that because I couldn't figure out. Apparently, everybody when she got shot, when Mary got shot, and she ran out and she said, "We gonna kill all y'all."
Hmm.
Everybody didn't hear her say that. So
Hmm.
Annie asked Sammy, "What exactly did she say?" That's what she
Hmm.
did. You catch that part?
I did because she didn't say, "I'm going to kill all y'all."
Oh, she's
She
we. That's right. We
she said, "We gonna kill
we
all
gonna
y'all."
kill all y'all. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I thought
AK
that was interesting. I couldn't figure out why nobody else heard her say it though.
Well, because she said it and ran out. See, she said it first and then she ran. She said, we gonna kill all y'all." And then she ran past them to go out the door.
I thought
Right.
she was running as she said it. Okay. Okay. That makes sense then.
So here you got like so now and I love this, all right. So Justin's mom said, "I can't wait to see this again." I know, right? Just talking about it make me want to see it again too. AK's F350 said vultures, culture vultures, right. Right. That's the point I was getting to, AK's F350. When you think about it in a bigger scale, right? We're talking about pick poor Robin clean. They come for us when it comes to music, when it comes to style, when it comes to art, when it comes to everything that we do. We are the Robins. We are still the minority, right? I mean, we are living in a more culturally diverse world, but we are still the minorities. And when you have these big corporations that come from out of nowhere and they come to the hood and they look to the hood and they look to see what we are doing, they are picking the Robins clean all the time. So it's no different. It's no different than when you have these companies that come and they look at a BET or they look at something that black people have built and we built it up, and then all of a sudden here they come to pick the poor Robins clean.
Right. Right. Um,
And
go ahead.
I know I was just gonna say, and so I thought that it was super super duper symbolic, right?
Yeah.
Super symbolic that they were doing this on the outside of this club while they were in there. I picked poor Robin, and the other thing that is kind of interesting to me is that we just heard Sammy, right? We just heard Perline. We heard all this great music on the inside of the club. And the outsiders come to the club with an inferior music. They come with an inferior sound and they want to be let into our thing.
Right.
They want to be let into our thing that we're doing better than they're doing on the outside. And they just say, we just want to come in and spend some money and have some drinks. It always comes as something innocent, right?
Hmm. Right. Um, Loving Life made a comment that the movie she didn't understand it, I think, and she found it like some of it confusing. Um, I can understand, like for example, I can understand my mother seeing that movie and not get it. I could probably see my sister watching it, not get it, or just kind of like being the love story of it all, something like that. There are some things that is hard. I don't know how I want it. There are some things that everybody might not pick up on, especially the first time. You might have to see it multiple times to pick up on some things. Or you may even have to, after hearing this discussion, you might go back and look at it and be able to pick up on things or get things that you weren't able to get when you saw it the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely that, right? It's a movie. Okay, let me just to sum it up, okay? Because AK's F-350. I see you making some really, really good points, okay? But listen, just to sum it up, what we're talking about in this movie is freedom, right? Freedom. Because here's the thing. The movie title itself is Sinners. When we think of sinners, we think of people that are literally living life frivolously. They're doing the wrong thing, right? And I think that everybody in this movie at some point did the wrong thing, right? So everybody is a sinner. Everybody, this is something that everybody can relate to being a sinner. So the music was the center of it all to to AK's F-350 point. The music was the point of it all. It was Sammy's love for blues music, which made him a sinner in his father's eyes. So when he played his music, he had the ability, as the narration in the beginning of the movie tells us, that there are people who sing with so much soul, so much power that they pierce the veil of reality, and not just the veil of reality from that moment, but in future moments. Which is why we got hip hop, why we got twerking, why we got turntables, and also in the past, which is why we got African dance, traditional African dance, all in the same club. And when all of that happened, the walls were burned down, the ceilings were burned down because nothing could enclose them anymore because the music has set them free. Remick was summoned out of nowhere by Sammy because Remick wanted that same freedom for his people. He looked at Sammy as a gateway to free his people, the Irish people, which is why once all those black people left and they turned all of them into vampires, now Remick had the people on the outside who were once on the inside dancing to his music.
as
It's
he
really a
danced
movie.
as he danced this is how I picked up that he was Irish when I saw him dancing. I said, oh, okay, he's Irish. Black but not bitter made the comment, the white vampires, Irish, were also slaves, but they were able to purchase their way out of slavery. They worked side by side with black slaves, all the while sucking up black culture, which I was saying this to Native before, how like it seemed like the Irish were just only one step above us when we were slaves. They were just like one step above what we were. And that's kind of how I was looking at it too. I was looking at it from that point of view. But so I thought it was interesting. I was like, "Oh, okay, he's Irish. Oh, okay. I get it. I'm getting this. I'm getting this."
Let me tell you what I got out of that when I saw that scene. I'm gonna tell you exactly the word that came to my mind when I saw all those black people dancing to that Irish music.
What?
Two words came to mind: Black Republican. Okay. Now, and I want you to think about it. They were in the house. They were inside of the juke joint. They were on the inside, right? Where they were surrounded by their culture. They were surrounded by even the Chinese couple were surrounded by their own culture. They were inside. As soon as they went outside and were changed, now they are doing a dance that is foreign to them, right? With somebody who does not understand them, right? And somebody who wants to lead them. Black Republicans do the same thing. They were inside the house. They were inside. They were within their own culture. And now they are dancing to music that is foreign to them, right? They're dancing to music that does not even suit them, but that's what they're doing now. So when I saw that, that was the first thing that came to mind was Black Republicans, because why the fuck is Byron Donald saying that Black people were better during Jim Crow than any other time? Unless he went outside the house and got bitten. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But because the whole thing was keep everybody in, don't let anybody go. Well,
Right.
they had already let everybody go, and look what happened when everybody was let go.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I thought that it was kind of like when I was just watching them and I was like, "Oh wow, this is really symbolic and this is really deep." Because I was just thinking like, "Wow. So now y'all niggas river dancing." Okay.
Natasha Razor Glam says also St. Patrick saved the Irish from the pagans and forced them into Christianity. Very much so, like we were brought over here and forced into Christianity to
Mhm.
follow a Bible that tells us to be kind to our master, obey, I guess, your masters.
Mhm.
When there was also a part, was it in the Bible that we don't see, that's not there anymore, the original,
Mhm.
with
Right.
King is it Solomon? Is it
Yes.
it's King Solomon, where
Mhm.
no, there was actually slaves in an uprising, but that part disappeared from the Bible. And when we were taught as slaves to be Christians, our native religion, or what we belonged to, what we believed in, was to be no more. And this is what we're taught. And this part of the Bible where there's supposed to be an uprising of slaves disappears from the Bible. And a lot of people
Right.
don't know that. A lot of people don't know that, but
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right. There's a lot that a lot of people don't know. Um, Montai makes a very good point. Montai says, plus we all come with a gift. For everybody they obtain, they also got our gifts.
Hmm.
That is why they were mad about Annie being killed. Right. Because they needed Annie on their side.
Right.
Right. They needed that spiritual person to be on their side, and they knew that, which is why that's an awesome point, Montai. Correct. You're absolutely correct. Mind and Business says, I also saw it as a theft of spirit. African American spirit is so deeply rooted in music and dance. Correct, Mind and Business. That's why Remick came back in the first place. Just like they were mad about Annie, they really needed Sammy. Because think about it. If they had Sammy on their side and he has the ability to open up all these portals and open up time and open up space, Remick could free his people, the Irish people, which is why it is important that Ryan Coogler made Remick the villain in this movie, is because that's what he was after. He was after the spirit and the gift that Sammy possessed to be able to get him to be able to free all of the Irish people. That's what he was trying to do. That was the at the end of the day, that's what it was. So to whoever it was, who did you say it was that said they didn't get the movie?
Loving life.
So Loving Life, when you watch the movie again, keep all of these things in mind. That's the end game for Remick when he comes back as comes down as the vampire. Is that's what he's trying to do? It is a theft of spirit. He's trying to get Sammy on his side. They would love to have Annie on their side in order to be able to do what they need to do for his movement, right? He's bringing the idea of freedom, because remember at the door he's talking about, this is freedom. I'm gonna offer you freedom, 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 right?
Right.
Well, his freedom involves murdering people. So so there's
Right.
that.
Right.
it involves violence. It involves, it's not just freedom to do what you want, it's the freedom to follow him. Sound
I
familiar?
right. And I'm gonna tell y'all something else, just out of just if you think about it type of thing.
Hmm.
If you notice, when you see all vampire movies where there are vampires, they are usually number one, um, of some other kind of descent, and they always end up some kind of way, shape, or form in the Black community. Have you ever?
Hmm.
I mean, just think about that.
Hmm.
Think back to any vampire movies that you've seen. Not like these modern day ones, like what was that? Skylight, Blue Light, Moonlight, whatever light it was.
Right.
Not like that, but just like if you look at the in the traditional sense, this is where you always find these vampires when they do movies. That's just something to think about.
Definitely, definitely. Uh, he loved old school said caught Omar Miller's interview with Karen Hunter when he said black people come back to their culture and do to them what was done to them. Immediately thought of Puffy. Very good thought because that's what Puffy did. I mean, I
Mhm.
mean, that's what he is. Absolutely. Minding Business says, and many Southern rooted black folks have some Irish in their DNA. Correct. That's
Yeah,
very true. That is
yeah.
very, very true. Um, let's see. The only black but not bitter says to me, Remick also represented the angel that was kicked out of heaven. That's why he was able to quote the scripture along with preacher boy Sammy. Correct. That is correct.
Well,
That is
you know what I figured. To be honest with you, when he was doing that, I just figured he ate a Christian. I and that's how he was able to do that. That was my thinking. But that's a good
yeah,
point. That's a good point though.
absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
my thing, he ate a Christian, so that's why he's able. Just like he was able to speak Mandarin, he was able, like he know that your memories became his memories once you turned. So I was just thinking, oh, he got a Christian.
Right.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What um what did you think about the overall message of this movie, or what did you think the overall message of this movie was? Because I feel like it could be a lot of different things, honestly.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It was so many different messages, but I want to go back to the dancing just
Hmm.
for a minute. I like the way that that was infused with all of the different cultures, but it also went through. We saw, and it really surprised me to see the geisha dance, and that I wasn't expecting that at all to happen.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
the way that things culturally went through in that scene,
Hmm.
how Africa, and then we're going back, we're going, forward, 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 even to when the turntable came up. And I know you mentioned that, but
Hmm.
just the way that was done, um, in a good sequential order, and it also was a representation that it made it easy to understand the point that was trying to be made.
Right.
From
Right.
To me, it did. To me,
Right.
it did.
And let me just tell you, that scene, that shot was done one shot. Okay, no edits. The scene did not get edited. There was no edit in that scene until they got to the outside. And if you know anything about filmmaking, to take a camera and move it around that much without a single cut, without a single edit, is freaking masterpiece. The only other shot I can think of that's a one shot like this, I know there've been a lot of them, but the only one that's notable to me is the one in Goodfellas when they're following Ray Liotta's character, Henry Hill, when they're following him through the restaurant, when they enter through the back of the restaurant and they go through the kitchen and they go through all, that's one shot all the way to the dining room where they sit him down. That's a one shot, and that's Scorsese. And that shot right there is incredible. But this shot of that dancing when they get the camera on Sammy and that camera moves around that juke joint and it captures all of those different parts and all those different elements and the girls twerking and the guys doing the b-boy dances and the there's even, I think there's a dude crip walking, right? And there's all these different things. That camera is not stopping. That is one continuous shot, and that is so freaking brilliant and well done. Like it can't even be like just the technical aspect of this movie, along with the script and along with the characters, along with everything else. Just the technical part
Yeah.
has been is insane. You know.
Wait, Jet Black Straight said, "I'm just noticing Remick in the movie poster." So I saw that comment and I'm looking at the poster. I kept saying, where? And I finally see him back there. I didn't notice that.
Hmm.
And if I hadn't seen that comment, I would have never noticed him because I was looking at it a while ago and I was like, I wonder why they don't have him on here. But yeah,
Yeah,
there he is. And there's the
yeah.
guitar in the back. Never picked up on that.
And the Choctaw back there too. Like fuck y'all, we out.
Oh, they sure are back here on the horse.
They're like fuck
So
this shit. We out. We out.
everybody's there.
Y'all can have this shit. Y'all can have this shit. Donna Michi the RN says there's so many levels. That dancing scene was one of the most brilliant scenes I've ever laid eyes on. Who didn't you see? Clear culture vultures. Yes. So Donna Michi the RN. Let me tell you, the first time I saw it, when the first time I saw the movie, um, I was just like, I literally was speechless. I didn't know what to say because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I just remember looking at it and I was going like, I know that I know this is not what I think it is. When they showed the guy, the Afro punk guy with the guitar, I was like,
Mhm.
holy shit. And then as it moved on to the hip hop stuff and I saw turntables and I'm like, what am I watching? What am I watching? And then as it just continued to just go through that juke joint, and it was just so and all the way to the point to when they were outside, I was like, what is going to happen now? Like it is
Yeah.
brilliant. It is so brilliantly done. And then when you see the three vampires looking at this, right, as the entire place metaphorically burns down, right? He burns the roof, you know. Like Parliament said, tear the roof off the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? He tears the roof off, right? And they're just looking, and they're looking at the place with envy because they
Mhm.
want that freedom. That is the freedom that they want. Ultimately, what we're talking about here is the church was basically holding Sammy captive. The
Right.
church was holding him captive. And this blues music was so freeing that the walls of the juke joint that he was singing in could not even hold him or his voice. But it was so powerful that it summoned something that he did not want.
Well, here's what I was trying to find out. Okay, so he told him to bury the guitar, and he didn't. But really wanted to know, and maybe it happened and I missed it. Sammy's father killed the twins' father. Was
Mhm.
it because he thought he was evil, or was it? I mean, that just wasn't explained, or at least I didn't catch it if it was.
You might be giving me an excuse to go back and watch it again because I know that they talked about it briefly in the car, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't quite put my finger on what that was.
Well, they did. They talked about it in the car because I went back and watched it again, and I was trying to pick up on it because I just really wasn't sure, And by him telling him to bury the guitar, and I'm like, and I knew that that guitar was his father's, so I was like, well. Wait a minute. Is there some kind of evil about this? And the father just insisting that he put it down. I was just trying to figure out, was there some kind of evil to that, and why was the father killed? I just wanted to know more about that, or if I missed something. So I'm gonna go look again to see.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I honestly I gotta go. So now I got a reason to go back. I guess I'll be going back to watch Sinners for a fourth time in order to be able to answer Legacy Moon's question.
Lord
How
have
about that?
mercy.
How about
I'm gonna
that?
see if I can send you that. That's what I'm gonna do, and you could just dissect it over and over and over again, like I was
You can
doing.
you can send me whatever you want to. I'm going to the movie to see it again. Okay, all right. I'll watch it on the way.
Well, you'll have to yeah, you'll have to do that and let me know because that was the one question I had. I just could not
Wait, hold on.
understand.
AK's F-350 might have answered it for you. Hold on. Smoke killed the dad because he was abusive to Stack. I do remember that conversation now. Yes, that is what happened. AK's F-350 also says that's why Stack asked Sammy if his father, their uncle, was beating on him. Yes. Yes, he did ask him that when he picked him up. Yes. So there you go. There you go, Leximo.
Okay, but I heard that. But
Hmm.
they were just trying I just the way that it was being mentioned, like I think, oh gosh, what's her name? Mary. I think Mary mentioned it when she came into the juke joint, and I think, okay, Sammy and whichever twin he was with, I can't even remember who he was in the car with, they talked about it, and then it came up another time. So, okay, I'll take that though. Black but not bitter said I heard one of the twins killed the father because he was okay. Yeah. The father blamed the two twins for killing the mom because she died during. Oh, okay. Okay. Because you do know that in some cultures that's a sign of bad luck. Or
Hmm.
back in the day, probably not now, but back in the day that was like a sign of
Hmm.
like there's I think somewhere near Madagascar, if you have twins, like they kick you out the village because they think that evil is upon them. So they make you leave.
Really?
Hmm. Yeah,
That's
like
interesting.
today, yeah. So there's
Hmm.
actually like a village somewhere over there where they all it's just filled with mothers and twins because they have to do one or two things. They have to either throw one away or leave it somewhere or leave. Like a mother who won't do it, she has to leave. So
Hmm.
that it could be rooted in that too. I didn't think, okay, y'all, okay, y'all learned me something because I just could not figure that out. But yeah, there are still to this day African cultures who believe that it is evil.
Wow. That's interesting.
Hmm. Very.
That that is interesting. I would say that I thought that the overall message of this movie was that we're all sinners.
Right.
Period. Like, I mean, I think that like it was just interesting to me the way that um the movie showed that we're all sinners, right? But the overall message at the end was that we're all redeemable,
So
you know.
is that because I still at the end of the movie I was like, well, why did they choose the word sinners? Couldn't quite figure that out either. Like, why was it titled sinners?
Yeah, and
That
to
makes
me it was
it
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
because we're all sinners and we're all redeemable. And I think that like everybody wants everybody else's sin to be greater than the other person's, right? When you look at the way Sammy's dad looked at his music, period, he wanted him to let that go because he thought that was a sin. You know what I mean? Smoke and Stack's relationships, you know what I mean? Like they made mistakes. They were sinners in those relationships, but at the end of the day, they were all redeemed. So everybody that was deemed a sinner at the end of the day was all a redemption arc at the end, and everybody was redeemed. So I just think that was the overall message, was that if you look at the people that are on this poster that's on the screen right now, I mean everybody had a redemption arc. Even why do we not know the Chinese lady's name? I can't think of her name.
Was it
um
Karen? Was it Karen?
yeah, it might as well have been, by the way she acted.
Look, let me look.
By the way that she acted and let them people into the damn place, yeah,
Because
we might as
we just keep seeing that. Yeah, well,
we
but she told her, she said, "Look, we got to go. We came here to cook food. We ain't come here for all that. We gotta
yeah,
go."
yeah, yeah. Oh, Grace was her name. That's right. It was Grace. It was
Oh
Grace.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was Grace because I thought how unusual, Grace.
Hmm. Yeah, it was Grace. Yeah. My God. I think everybody pissed when she let them people in.
Poor Grace, but she ain't let him in. She was trying. They was all get. Are you talking
She
about
said, she said, come on in. That's what she said.
Well, because that's what because they was going to fight him. Oh, you're right though. But I thought that she did that because they was gonna fight him anyway. But I just wish she could have. I mean, could they have really? Couldn't she at least hit one person with that cocktail? Just one person at least when she
I
threw
don't
it.
know. I don't know. I wouldn't have been throwing the cocktail. I would have been throwing her ass out there with them. Okay. Like, oh, you want okay, I'll tell you what, won't you go out there with them then?
I'm
Okay.
gonna look at that again. I remember the doors open. Okay, I'm gonna look again because I don't think I remember her like. Okay, poor
She let
girl.
them in, Legacy Moon. She let them in. Shit.
I will also say also the her unaliving herself was also cultural because I mean, of course she did it because she didn't want to be walking the earth forever. But in those cultures, a lot of the Asian cultures, that's one of the things that they do. If there's been shame on the family, if they've brought bad luck to the family, that's what they do. They take themselves out. So I thought that that was also a cultural representation when she did that. Of course, I didn't see that she did that until I watched the end again because I watched that twice and I really did not hear her invite them in. But I'm
She
going.
said, come on in. She told the people to come in.
I'm gonna look at it when we get off of here because I don't remember. I just they opened the door. They all had weapons, so they was coming in anyway. Oh, so
Nah,
so if she
nah.
hadn't have said that, they wouldn't have. Oh wow.
They had to
Okay.
be invited in. She invited all of them in.
Well, I know they had to be invited, but I just don't remember.
Yes.
Y'all
Shit.
remember Grace saying, "Come on in"? Do y'all remember that?
Yes, they do. Look in the comments. They said they was look at Miss Lady said, oh, I was pissed.
Just as mom said, she sure did. I was like, "Bitch."
Right. The fuck?
Oh, okay. AK's POV says she said, "Come on in my first."
Right. Come on in, motherfucker. Yeah, like it went force. Like, no, I would have threw her ass out. Like, this the one y'all want. Shit. This the one y'all want. Here. Take her.
Like her. She already was upset about her husband.
Right.
Oh, that was when poor little cornbread was eating up the guy. She said he's killing him, and her husband was like, "Oh, that. Oh, he's just cornbread just hungry." And
Mm-hmm.
wanted her to come outside. And she was
Mm-hmm.
still acting like she wanted to. Now that would have been when I pushed her. Because she
Right.
was kind of iffy about it. I'd have pushed her. You
Right.
want
No, I
go,
would have
go. Let cornbread have another meal, okay?
told her, yeah, I would have took her ass right outside. The fuck you mean come on in? Here. Hell, even if they get the rest of us, take this snitching ass motherfucker with you, okay? Shit. Fuck. The fuck you mean come on in? Shit.
I did not catch that, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hold on. We got a proud moment. Ms. Lady says, Native, proud moment. My skate team auditioned for Roll Bounce movie. We made top three, but didn't get the part. Go to Hollywood. But we're very proud to brag about being top three.
Hey,
I'm
why
very proud.
not?
Look, I'm very proud that you weren't in Roll Bounce. Okay. I'm very proud of that, Ms. Lady. Happy that you made it to the top three. Even happier that you weren't in that movie. I ain't a big fan of Lil Bow Wow. I'm just saying. I'm
Well,
just saying.
who
Chad
likes Chad?
Shed Mouse is no, no, not a fan, not a fan. Um, but look, that's all I got for y'all. Uh,
No, no. Well, first of all, let me just say Damachi the RN. I saw your comment when you were talking about did you say Pentecostal or apostolic your mother was and how
correct.
everything associated with music was considered evil? Cuz especially when blues came about, a lot of people were upset because they felt like it was taking gospel music and twisting it into something that it shouldn't be. So I found that comment very interesting. And then also, Native, you
Mhm.
we didn't talk about the crosses.
Yeah, we didn't. I think that the crosses. So it was hard. Look, there for every scene there's literally crosses in every scene, right? I thought that was very interesting, at the very beginning of the movie when Sammy comes in to his dad's church, that there are three crosses, right, representing the twins and him. There's a cross at the top, there's a cross, then there's two crosses on either side. So I thought that that was very symbolic and very interesting because all three of them would sacrifice something that night. I feel like Sammy sacrificed his guitar as well as Perlene that night. And then the brothers, of course, sacrificed themselves that night. So I thought that if you go back and watch it again, he walks into the church and there's a very on purpose shot of the three crosses, one on the left, one on the right, and one at the top, representing the twins and then Sammy.
Or even the one when he was trying to get Electric into the club, when he
Right.
was on that ladder and he came down, that if you look at the utility line, that was a cross. When they were in the club and you looked
Mhm.
up at the burning roof, those there were crosses up there. There's just crosses everywhere,
Mhm.
um, that you could see, and I just thought that that was very interesting that they were placed the way that they were throughout the movie.
Right. AK's 350 said the three crosses represented the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost in a church. In
Yeah,
the
and it
movie. Okay.
yeah, but
In the
in the
movie,
movie, like that
in
was not
Ryan
where the
Coogler's, yeah, in Ryan Coogler's directive eye, it represented the two twins and Sammy. Because yeah, in a church, I get it. I get the Trinity, but I'm just saying, like the way that it was presented in the movie, along with the other symbolic crosses that you have to really watch the movie to see.
right, like when it
You know,
was on fire, the when the roof was up, when the dancing, and I think it was like right after the dancing, or when the roof was on
Mhm.
fire,
Yeah,
metaphorically, you looked
right,
up and there were crosses up there, so it was crosses throughout the movie
right. Throughout,
that
yeah,
you'll catch
yeah.
that you
So,
didn't see. Now,
so
somebody said not we didn't talk about the scene with D when D who was D?
what was the
AK's F-350 said, "Wait, we didn't talk about the scene when D," and then she stopped.
what?
There's
Who?
multiple meanings to Trent. She said D. It said you don't see that.
Hold on.
What was
Wait,
you
we did.
talking about? AK's F-350. You
Uh,
see, it was
Jet
just
Black. Wait, Jet Black straight said, well, I never knew about the Chinese and the Mississippi Delta being factual, so I've been watching a few YouTube videos about it. Yes. So the Chinese, so again, trying to escape internment camps, brought a lot of Chinese Americans to the Mississippi Delta as well as the South in general. So the inclusion of Asian Americans, Chinese Americans into Black culture is not new. It was happening all the way back in those days as well. So yes, that was very typical back in those days. Very typical. Ms. Lady says, "Did you speak on why everyone had on white in the church? That symbolism." I mean, didn't speak on it. The symbolism behind it, I really didn't. I didn't think too much about it, and the reason why I didn't think too much about that being symbolic was just because that's just the way a lot of those churches were set up back then because they couldn't afford colorful materials. So the cheaper materials that they could get were the white materials to make their robes and stuff out of. So I really didn't put a lot of stock into that.
well, no,
This
I
lady.
did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
It represent I mean, because actually that's kinda the opposite. They could afford the colors, but not the whites.
Okay.
But the white, it represented the purity. The walls were white, they were
Right. The
dressed
church
in
itself is
white,
white.
everything
Mhm.
was white. And I just looked at it as being a representation of purity. That's how I saw it, and that's what
Okay.
I read into it.
Okay.
Um Natasha Razor Glam said, I want to know why the KKK didn't notice the juke joint was empty and burnt up. Well, technically it wasn't. They never got the doors open.
Nope.
Cuz when they tried to open the doors, he started, shooting off. But technically, like, some stuff burnt on the inside, but it didn't burn down.
No,
And
it
when
didn't.
that roof was on fire, that was metaphorically. It wasn't really on fire.
Right.
So that's why, because he was trying to, he's like, ain't nobody in there, and they never got it open. It was locked. That I couldn't figure. I was like, well, why is it locked all of a sudden? But yes. And then he was in the bushes, and he we also didn't talk about the protection amulet, because I think that that's very important too.
What was your take on that? Because I was really interested to know what you thought about that.
Well, I had to go back and look at it again, because I could not I couldn't figure out where it came from. Um and I still got to go back and watch, because you told me he took it from his brother, and that's how I got on there. But that was another form to me. I know you have your explanation of it, but to me that was just another form of protection, and that's how he was able to take them all out, because he had on his protection ambulance, and then he put his brothers over the gun. Which, when I had, at first I forgot that I had even seen that, because I was trying to figure out where it came from, because I was like, well, he has the one on his neck and he has the one on his arm, so where'd that come from? So then when I went back and looked at it again, I was like, okay, but I still need to go back and look again to see where he got it from his brother. And then I was also trying to figure out, before I realized that, I was like, well, dag, if he has on his protection amulet, well, why would he have turned? But so I got it after, it was explained to me. But I just think that that's how he was able to take out the clan, because he did have that protection. He had his protection on, and then he had the amulet on the gun.
Yeah. Yeah. He put it on there because, again, them being twins, they went through wars together. He has never like been through anything major without his brother with him. And so it was very symbolic that that was on the gun with him as he was fighting the clan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that made sense. That made sense. But that is I think that was, I think, in my mind, and from what I know and what I believe, I feel like he would not have been able to defeat them if he hadn't had that with him and on the gun. And let me see. Natasha Razor Glam says Stack took off his because he wanted to die and be with no, 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 no.
That was
No.
smoke.
That was Smoke. Um the brother who he killed, it was his amulet on there. So when Smoke was shooting, he had his around his neck and around his arm, and then there was one around the gun. Yeah, and he took, yeah, Mai Tai said then he took it off when he was ready to go. So yeah. So first we have what was around the gun, which was his brother's, and he still had his on until he was ready to die. And then would you say, Native, he put on the baby? Because I still didn't catch that. Did you say he put it on the baby?
No, 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 no. What I said was that he took it off, and when he took it off, he saw the baby. That's when he took that off.
Oh,
That's when he looked
okay.
over and he saw Annie and the baby, and Annie was breastfeeding the baby. And I
Right.
just thought that
Okay.
her, dressed in that white with the baby, and I just thought that that was just so. I loved, 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 loved that whole ending and the way that that ended that way. My goodness, that was so heart wrenching and so like beautiful. The way that this movie ends with him being able to see his child. That's just amazing to me.
And then the endings, all of the endings, the ending at in the club that I didn't get to see because the movie cut off. I
Hmm.
saw the club, I saw all that, but when they went to the doors, that's when it cut off.
Right.
So I didn't see
Um.
that.
Okay. So let's talk. In credit. I'm tripping. We had a lot more to talk about.
Well,
Let's talk in
I
credit.
was wondering. So
Let's talk in credit scenes. Okay. I mean, we talked about Pearline, and I got that off
yeah,
my
yeah, you
chest.
talked about Perline. Okay.
Yeah, we talked about Pearline. I was able to get that off my chest.
Yeah, she
One
died.
more time. One more time for the people in the back. Okay.
Yeah, she died in the sun. Okay.
Well, whatever, whatever. She alive. She's alive in this picture right here. Okay. I'm just saying. She's very much alive in this picture. Okay. Um, let's talk in credits. Let's talk 1992. Stack comes into the bar with his Coogee sweater on, right? Coogee sweaters were definitely a 90s thing. Lord have mercy. I got so tired of seeing Coogee sweaters. I really did.
Well, only because Biggie kept wearing them.
Oh, oh, I gotta put on this Coogee sweater, Puff. Oh, oh. Yeah, no, I got tired of Coogee sweaters in the 90s, but I will say that they dressed Michael B. Jordan in straight 90s clothes. My God, it was so 90s. It was so 90s. And him and Mary come into the club and they sniff Sammy, or at least Stack does, and he tells Sammy that he doesn't have that much longer to live. Again, this is why I believe that this would be um, an amazing uh, sort of prequel, I guess. Well, not really a prequel, but I don't know. I want to know what they was doing from 1932 to 1992. I want to know what happened in them 60 years. But anyway, Stack is telling Sammy that he doesn't have that much longer, offers him to, become a vampire so that he can live forever. And Sammy says, I've had enough of this life. I've been through enough things, and by the way, y'all, in case y'all didn't know, the club is named Perlene's. Okay, that's the name of the club. Just in case y'all didn't know, the club is named Perlene. Perlene must have. I'm not gonna finish that sentence, but all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling what you was gonna say, but okay, we'll go on with the conversation.
Look, all I'm saying is Perlene must have. For 60 years later, the club is named after Perlene after one night, Legacy Moon. One night? Not even a whole night, just a time in the back of a room, and he named the club Perlene. Oh my God! Anyway,
You do remember Pearline was a little whore.
nope, nope,
She had a
nope.
husband,
We're
so
not
she had
doing
no
that.
business with that young man.
We're not doing that, Legacy Moon. We are not calling Perlene names, okay? All right, we're
My
not doing that.
my Ty got rolling eyes emojis in the chat. You see,
We're not doing that, my Ty. We're not talking about Perlene, okay? Damn it, man. Can I have anything? Can I have
I'm just
anything?
saying she was a little whore because she had a husband. All
Y'all
at the
out,
club, all out at the
I
club.
don't, look, I don't say nothing about y'all talk about Method Man. Method Man married. I am a blueberry muffin, and y'all be talking about Method Man all the time. Y'all be talking about Biggie Smalls and Heavy D. Okay, I don't say shit when y'all be talking about y'all men that y'all like. Why can't I have Perlene? Damn it, man.
You can have on Mary Pearline being passed around. Everybody, okay,
She
yeah.
wasn't. She wasn't. She wasn't
Look, look,
past.
look, look, look. Letting somebody all up in her on the first night. She just met him earlier that day at a train station.
But sometimes,
Hmm.
sometimes you just know what you want.
My Ty says she was a whole ponytail.
But she wasn't though. But she wasn't. But she wasn't. She wasn't. I don't care what y'all say. I like Perlene. Perlene was
Hmm.
uh-huh. Perlene. Uh-huh. Yeah. Look, Legacy Moon like Biggie.
I
Biggie like
look.
oh,
I said he was not. Mm-mm.
oh, okay, you didn't like him.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it when you call me Big Papa. Okay. You ain't like okay. Oh, oh. Yeah, that's
Wait.
not you.
No, that's not me. But I'm a blueberry muffin. Said my husband is fine. She must be talking about her literal husband and not metaphorically. Biggie. Uh. No, she did not
Look,
mean.
all I'm saying is that y'all sit up and talk, and I be the only dude in there because I don't know where all the other guys be gone when y'all be talking about all these men, and I be sitting up there listening, and y'all be talking about he's so fine, he's so fine. I mention one person, and all I get is eye rolls and shit. I mentioned Pearline in the movie,
Yeah,
okay, and
Pearline, who is
Pearline in real
married
life.
and sleeping with another man. Come on, dude.
Well, in real life, okay, in real life, damn it. Um, Pearline ain't married, I don't think. Shit. I don't know. Hell. Somebody find out.
Oh, I'm a blueberry muffin said definitely my real husband legacy. Okay. Okay.
I'm just saying. So listen, so they come to the club and they offer being a vampire to Sammy. And Sammy's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I've seen enough. But I love the way that he told Stack that that was like the best day of his life. Like before all that stuff that happened at night, that was the best day, where he felt free, on that day. And it was a Saturday. He was out with his cousins, and they showed all the clips of everything that they did on that day. And then Stack says that that was the last day that he spent with his brother, which is true, or the last time that he saw his brother, was that night. And Sammy tells him that he thinks about that day or that night at least once a week. You know.
Yeah.
And I just thought that that was just so poignant and so like it just meant so much, that that was the last time or the last night that he got to spend with his brother and everything that happened from there. So and then they walk out, and then there's the shot of a young Sammy singing "This Little Light of Mine," which I thought wrapped the movie up in the most perfect bow that could be wrapped up in.
And it's because why? What did you find metaphoric about him, that being the closing shot and him singing that particular song?
Because it was the light at the end of the day, literally. It was the light at the end of the night that ended up um killing all of the vampires, right? I mean, they stabbed, they threw garlic, they did the whole thing, the garlic water, whatever that was. They went through the whole gambit, but at the end of the day, it was the light that ended up killing all of the vampires. So when he's singing "This Little Light of Mine, I'm gonna let it shine," it just wrapped it all up because that's what did it. That's how they ended up defeating Remick. That's how they ended up defeating all of the vampires. Was the sun came up. So it was perfectly fitting and a great, great, great way to end the movie.
Yeah. Um I think that, like, if after this, if there were some things that people missed or didn't get, it would be a good idea to see it again. I'm still going back and looking and saying, wait a minute, let me go, wait a minute, I didn't see that, or let me go back, or let me watch again. Yeah, just like I have to go back and listen to Grace invite the people in,
Hmm. Yeah. Oh,
because
how
I
you
don't
missed it?
re I don't remember. I just remember her not being able to throw. I remember that. So
Hmm.
I definitely have to look at that again.
Yeah, no, look, I'm gonna tell you this. It's not a movie you can watch once. It just isn't. It's not a movie you can watch one time. Again, with everything, even in this discussion, the things that we've discussed, I want to go see it again just from just talking about it again. This is an A+ movie, y'all. And there's a few people in here that said they don't mind the spoilers or whatever. So there are a few people in here that have not seen it. Please go see this movie. This movie is so good. It is just a complete story, and I stand on this, I do not look at this movie as a horror movie.
Yeah,
horror movies
I
to me
didn't either.
horror movies to me okay, horror movies to me are, I'm trying to scare you from the first shot to the last shot. So there's a jump scare here, there's a jump scare there. I didn't see it that way. There were no real jump scare. I mean, if you want to count the snake in the back of the truck as a jump scare, sure. Okay. I didn't really count that. It was just a snake. If you've been out in Mississippi somewhere, you know that snakes be places. So that wasn't really a jump scare to me. But I felt like a traditional horror movie is like trying to scare you the entire time that it's on. I didn't feel like this movie did that. I felt like it told a story, a complete story, and a beautiful story at the end of the day. And I didn't really see it as a horror movie.
I didn't either, but can we just talk about the killing of the snake? I'm
Hmm.
trying to put I actually looked. I looked in a few. I looked. I have things. I have places to
Hmm.
look, and I was looking to try to figure out. I thought that was a strange way to kill a snake, so I was looking for a reason for that. Why the snake was killed that way. That's just
Shit.
strange.
I thought it was a perfectly good reason, a good way to kill a snake, because that motherfucker can't do shit without his head. I have known people, I know people that cut the head off of snakes.
But
Shit.
I've seen people, like, that's how they kill it, they cut the head off, but it was kinda some steps to it. Yeah,
Nah,
I
ain't got time for that. Ain't got time for that.
I just thought
You
that was
know,
interesting, so I was looking for some things to try
no,
to.
and can we take a moment to just realize that Michael B. Jordan threw a knife to Michael B. Jordan in order to kill the snake. I mean, no, no, for real. Let's think about it. Not only was the passing of the cigarette brilliant filmmaking, right? Michael B. Jordan threw a knife to Michael B. Jordan and killed the
To
snake.
kill the snake, yeah.
Seamless, seamless, y'all. This
Yeah.
was some seamless cinematography,
The
and
the only Black But Not Bitter said it also wasn't a vampire movie, it was a movie with vampires in it.
thank you,
That's the way
thank
I
you.
saw it, because I was like, "Okay, this is a cute story, it's a movie, and it just so happens it's, some vampires, like, uh, just, like, once in the beginning and, at the end." So, I didn't see it like that, I just didn't see horror, I didn't see, "Oh, this is a vampire movie," or any of that. I
It
just
was a
saw a
movie for
movie
vampires.
with vampires in it. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I saw it too. I saw it like that. But it very creative, very just very everything. I will personally have something to say if it does not get anything. You know what I mean? Any
Mhm.
type of awards or anything, because there's just absolutely no way. No way. Now, when it does come out, perhaps we will have a showing of it. Maybe like
Absolutely.
members or something like that get like, because with this system right here, we can kind of like link stuff up how we want to. So, maybe we could do something like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, oh my god. Oh my god. Yes. Yes, we will
Yeah, I know
we
you would
will
be down.
oh, definitely, definitely, because I think if there's a reason that you all need to see this again, it's so y'all can have some Pearline appreciation, damn it.
Well, I don't know about us doing that, but
Some
mm,
Pearline, can we get some Pearline appreciation, damn it?
Pearline,
That first scene, I was like, who is this?
all at the club,
Who is this?
at the club without her husband. Okay.
Who is this?
Mhm.
Look at Pearline. Look at her walking away.
Mhm.
Don't bite off more than you, man. Pearline, you better bring your ass back. Anyway, look,
Mhm.
just
He say,
I'm
"Where
just,
your husband? Your
I'm
husband
just,
coming?"
I'm just
Nah.
saying. I'm just saying. We don't even know, she might have been lying. Let me tell you something. There are women that when they don't want to be bothered will say that they have a husband. They will make up a husband when they don't want to be bothered. I've seen it
Yes,
happen.
yes, yes. I have done it many times, but I then don't show up to the club running into that same guy and spread an eagle. I don't do that. Okay. If I say I'm married, I'm married.
I just don't remember her running anywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't remember her running anywhere. That's all I'm saying. Look,
Mhm.
hold on. Let me hold on. Let me say this. Hold on, real quick. Matai said, I like how Ryan Coogler showed a woman that was thicker than a snicker could have a real pure love that is usually not shown in movies. Matai, I didn't like that. I love that. Okay. I love the fact that Annie was who Annie was. Okay. I
Yeah, I
loved
did
it.
too. I
Oh
did
my God.
too. And
Oh
shout
my
out to
God.
her authentic African hairstyle. I like that they
Shout out
went
to
for
her.
that.
Shout out to her skin, her hair, her thickness. Shout out to her being a real black woman. And I think like when you got a director, isn't Ryan Coogler from Compton? Is Ryan Coogler from Compton? I'm not
Mm.
sure. I think he is. I think he's from the hood. He's from the hood somewhere, right? And when you got somebody like that's from the hood, then you give them a camera and you tell them that you got X millions of dollars to make a movie, you gonna get those scenes. You're gonna get those actresses. You're gonna get those people that are authentic and that are real because that's all we know. And I say we because with my camera, that's what I want to capture. I want to capture real people, real bodies, real hairstyles, and
Non
not
BBL.
right, right. I want to get the actual factuals, the real people, because to me, again, just like Ryan Coogler's dialogue brings you into the movie because it is so authentic, so does Ryan Coogler's casting. Ryan Coogler's casting brings you into a movie because it's also authentic. I've seen her before. I've seen him before. I know, like when like these people are so relatable to me that I don't feel like I'm watching a movie. I feel like I'm looking at
Yeah.
a conversation,
And
and that's what I love about the way that he makes his movies.
she has not her she doesn't have like a really long I know she's a British actress because she's been in she there's a show I watch. It's called I think it's called Vera. I think
Mhm.
it comes on BBC. And then she was in something else that came on BBC. I think M- Moses 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 Johnson, Jefferson or Jones, one of them that she plays in. But she doesn't really have like a really long laundry list. But I do like her every time I see her in something.
Her name is Wunmi Masaku, and she is in the Wolverine and Deadpool movie. She's in what's the name of that other thing? Loki. She's in Loki. So she's got a couple Marvel things under her belt. Of course, who could forget her in Lovecraft Country? All right.
I
Hold
don't
on, let me
remember
see.
her. Who was she in there?
She was in Lovecraft Country. Hold on. Texas Toy said Native got another crush. Damn. Texas Toy, my crush is black. Okay. My crush is black women. I love black women and I love everything about black women. If I get out here every day on this damn platform and say it over and over again, I don't mind. I love black women and I love everything about black women. So when I only see one type of black women all the time, that's fine because they're still black. But there are more, and there's so much more to black women and so much more to love about black women. So, yes, if I am being accused of having another crush on the screen that is black, that is Wunmi Masaku, I'm good. I'm good. Guilty as charged. Okay, guilty as charged. Shit. Keep trying to tell y'all ain't no shame in my game over here. Okay. Yes. The only black one I met. She was in Lovecraft Country. Um, Hold on. Let me look and see who she was in there because I can't remember her character's name. But yeah, she was in Lovecraft Country. Uh huh. Absolutely.
Huh. I you know what I find? It seems like when it comes to like we can have all the Harry Potters and schools
Hmm.
for magical thinking and all of those things. We can have
Hmm.
those for days and days and days and sequels. As soon as it come up with some black folks and some magic, it disappears. Like Lovecraft, American Gods, when it was getting too black, so they unblacked it. Um what's the other one? That was there was it's another show that was canceled that came on. It's like as soon as we get into magic and the African culture and the use
Hmm.
of black magic in these things, the shows are canceled like after a few seasons, or we start to see characters disappear. And that
Yeah.
that just that's really funny to me. But we can have like 15 sequels. Harry Potter's voice is
Yeah.
changing, and we can keep on
Yeah.
making movies about him. But as soon as we
Yeah.
start talking about, using magic and advancing our careers, our lives, our environment is canceled. I
But do
just
you know
don't see it.
why? The significance of Lovecraft Country. Do you know why specifically that show was canceled? Because we were using magic to free ourselves.
Right.
This show was set in the 1950s. This show covered Emmett Till. They talked about
Hmm.
Emmett Till in this show. They showed black people using magic to fight against white supremacy, specifically in Lovecraft Country, right?
Right.
So when you got like, not only did they cover Emmett Till, they covered Oklahoma, um, the Wall Street,
Mm-hmm.
like Black Wall Street.
Black.
They
Yeah.
covered all of these things, and they showed Black people empowering ourselves with something that in their fiction they use for just frivolous shit like flying on brooms and shit. And here we are, we're using it for some serious shit. We're using it to get our freedom, right?
Mm-hmm.
That scared the fuck out of people that don't look like us.
Yeah.
That scared the fuck out of people that don't want to see us doing things like that on the screen.
Mm.
Us being empowered by anything is a threat. That's why they're trying to cancel Black history. That's why they're trying to make it hard for Black students to go to HBCUs now. That's why, that empowerment, seeing that on the screen is one of the most powerful things that can happen, and they had to stop it, and that's why they canceled Lovecraft Country, and that's why the fuck I got HBO on bootleg right now. I don't even know how the fuck I'm paying for this shit because it ain't on none of my cards. I still got it. Okay,
HBO
so
Max is a good thing to have, though. It is. I like this HBO Max.
it's cool. I just ain't paying for it. Okay, I ain't paying for the shit. All right. Because they canceled Sinners, and I'm not Sinners. They canceled Lovecraft Country, and that show was amazing. It was an amazing show.
And they said that they became uncomfortable with the fact, like in season 2, you thought season 1 was good, okay, but in season 2, she was really about to blow up and have us really using magical things to increase our wealth and stuff like that. And they did not want that. The studio, they didn't want it. They didn't want it.
Let
It
me
made them
let me
uncomfortable.
let me ask y'all this: for the people that saw Lovecraft, was I the only one that was clapping when the monsters came out the ground and ate up the Klan's people, or was I the only one that was clapping when the monsters came out the ground and ate up the police that was shooting at the Black folks? Am I the only one? Was it just me? Was it just me?
I was like, because I was late to watching that, and it had already been canceled and everything when I started watching, and I was like, "Oh, so I just watched the same season over and over and over again. Just keep watching it
Yeah,
over and over again."
but was I the only one that clapped when the Klansman was chasing them people through the woods? Okay. Was I the only one? Only me, 23. Was I the only one that when they was chasing them, because they was going through the sundown town and the Klans people
Mhm.
got behind them? Am I the only one that was happy to see the monsters come out the ground and eat them and their cars? Huh? Am I the one? Am I the only one in here that was happy to see? Am I the only one in here to see
you,
that's happy to see bad things happen to the Ku Klux Klan? Just
you,
tell me
you
that. Just,
you seem to clap a lot when that happens.
I mean, I'm just trying to understand, y'all. Am I the only one
Um,
that hates the Klan? I'm just
if you
saying.
if you think about it, one of the two of the things that they did to us when we were enslaved was, number one, break our spirit, and
Hmm.
number two, take away the culture we had. What we knew,
Hmm.
what we practiced, what we believed in was taken away from us, and this was poured down our throats. And not only just here, even over in Africa, and there are, you have the missionaries go over because they are going to civilize these uncivilized people, because they're not Christians. They must be uncivilized, just like that young man who was going to go preach the word to them black folks who was on an island, who have don't they're just still living their island life, have never been exposed to electricity and those things and people with germs and stuff. And he went over there, was going to go ashore, and they killed his behind.
Yep.
They killed him, and them folks had to go. They were scared. America was scared to go over there and get his body. But that's what happens. They always want to go in and just change, because what is being done is uncivilized.
Hmm.
You're uncivilized. Oh, they're savages. But you want me to believe in this, and you want me to be a Christian, but I come to church with you Christian, and I got to sit in the back up in the balcony, but I got to come. I got A lot of people don't know, like, a lot of the things that you see the ushers and stuff do in church, a lot of that stuff is rooted in how we had to behave as enslaved people when they made us go to church. And a lot of people
Hmm.
don't know that. A lot of people don't know that.
Yep.
So I just get a bit disturbed and irked in my spirit when these shows and things come out to enlighten people who don't, because a lot of people don't know. The only reason why I know a lot of the things that I do know is because I read. I was into, when I got in the fifth grade, I had a teacher introduce me to Black history, and I was fascinated, and I never stopped reading. My mother, I remember, when they turned Nat Turner into a movie, my mother, she asked me, she says, "You ever hear of Nat Turner before?" She said, "I'd never heard that before." She said, "So he really was a person?" I said, "Yes, he really was a person. That really happened." And she just couldn't believe it because she hadn't heard that before, because I made it my business to learn those things because I knew nobody was going to tell me. So I made it my business to learn it. And I know my parents, they didn't know. Nobody taught them. So how is they supposed to know? So that's how I learned a lot of these things. And this is, so many people don't know. But as soon as shows come out to try to enlighten us about these things, they're canceled. Nobody's comfortable. Everybody's kind of uncomfortable.
Right. Right. Nah, listen, look, I'm gonna tell you, it was the autobiography of Malcolm X is what did it for me. And I remember reading that, and I was always like a AB honor roll kind of kid when I was in elementary school, but when I got to high school, I wanted to fit in with the other numbskulls, so I really like hid, so I wasn't called a nerd because back in the '90s, it wasn't cool to be smart like that.
Right.
So I tried to blend in with the other um, idiots, and and I literally let my grades slip. I thought it was cool. Then I picked up the autobiography of Malcolm X and I read his words. And when I read his words and read about how he was unafraid to challenge himself and he was unafraid to change and he was unafraid to then be who he really was supposed to be, it was at that point that I really started taking my education seriously and I started reading more and I started being more, because Malcolm X had a two-word quote that I will never forget. It was "be intelligent." And so from there, I started taking my natural gifts seriously, right? Like, and not be afraid to show the world who I actually am. And I owe it all to that book. That book was very transformative for me, and I will never forget it. And that's where it all started, was from there. And then I started getting into other things and reading about, Black history and all this other stuff. So I'm with you on that. It only takes one thing to turn everything around for you, or to change your whole worldview,
I
about
mean,
how you see stuff.
think about it. They don't want us to really know. I mean, I know people know, but they don't really want us, when you really look into Shaka Zulu. They don't really want you to know that this man had all these warriors fighting men with guns and winning. They don't want you to hear that part. They just want you to hear the capture. They
Hmm.
want to teach you those parts, but not the fact that this man had spears. He
Hmm.
had the strategies that militaries use now came from him
Right.
because he had a strategy. These other people had their little gunpowder and was shooting, and this man was. They were winning. The Zulu nation was winning with spears to
Right.
gunpowder. But they
Right.
don't want you to know the in-depth details of that. They don't want you to know that.
Right. They don't want you to know about that. They don't want you to know about the Seminole Wars, the Black Seminole Wars, which was the only recorded loss for the U.S. military, where the U.S. military thought they could just roll into Florida and just take slaves back to their masters, and the Seminole Indians and the slaves that had escaped were indoctrinated and embedded in Seminole tribes and fought back the U.S. Army and defeated them. And so there are records of the U.S. Army generals writing back to Jackson at that time, and they were saying about how this how this team up of Black people and Native American people was overwhelming, along with the conditions of the swamps of Florida.
Hmm.
And the U.S. military records that as the only loss for the U.S. Army. Okay, this was done not by guns. This was done not by missiles. This was done by rocks and some well placed traps and alligators. Okay, That's how the U.S. Army lost their own, has recorded their only loss. But they won't tell you that
Mhm.
because this was ultimately a slave rebellion that worked. This
Mhm.
was a slave rebellion where the slaves actually won, right?
Mhm.
So Nat Turner was a man who went out by himself, him and a few other people, right? This was a whole tribe of Native American Seminole Indians and black people. This gets erased all the way out of history. Like nobody
Mhm.
wants to talk about this at all because again, when you start empowering people with things from the past, when you start showing people images, and when you start showing them that, hey, do you think like John Lennon had the song Imagine. See, our imaginations are so powerful that we can turn thoughts into things. And when you start showing people power, like when you start showing marginalized people power, then that is going to scare the people who have the actual power to this day. And they don't want that to happen.
Native, you might know this man's name. There is a, kind of sort of an uprising in Africa. The man who is president over Africa, he's trying to get the other nations together. There's a black, I forget which, I think Nairobi. She's a female president. She has kicked all of the white U.S. citizens out of the country, very much so like Trump is kicking all of the illegal aliens out of this one. And the president of South Africa, I do believe it's South Africa, is trying to get all of the African nations together because this is where, this very iPhone that I have, the minerals and things that we get for this stuff comes from Africa. A lot of what
Mhm.
we have to make things over here come from Africa. And he's trying to get all of the African nations to come together and say, "Hey, no, no, you're not gonna have this. We're not gonna let you take this anymore." Back in the day, over in, I can't remember what country, but it's a Dutch man.
Mhm.
He is the one who back in the day was well known for cutting the hands off of the African people. If you stole, if you didn't do what you were supposed to do, whatever, he'd cut, limbs off. And over
Mhm.
there in where did the Dutch people live? Wherever the Dutch people live in Dutch land, I don't know. They literally to this day in 2025 still sell chocolate, their hands, and it's
Mhm.
chocolate, and you go into the shops and you buy that, and that is representative of that man. I can't think of his name. Somebody in the chat might know him, but I can't remember his name. But that's what he did. Oh, you're not working hard enough. Chop your hand off. Oh, you stole. Oh, let me chop your arm off. And this is a thing that's still celebrated over there, wherever the Dutch people live. I don't know where they live. I don't know.
Mhm.
I just know the Dutch in windmills. That's all I know. But this is what, and this is the history. So then it comes to, okay, when you had, we're not even going, I don't even want to get into Rwanda and the Congo and all that.
Right.
But you kind of had history repeating itself, but you have other black people doing it to other black people. But where did we get that from? We got it from that man. I cannot think of his name. To save my life, it'll come to me after this live. But those are the kinds of things that we don't teach our kids. And now with us removing everything, I just saw where something from some park, Harriet Tubman, there's something in some park, they just removed it today. So like all of our history that we did have, the little bit that we did have, and the little bit that our children do know, is slowly but surely being erased. It's being erased bit by
Yeah.
bit by bit.
It is. And I think that's the reason why it's important that we keep speaking. It's important that we keep reading. It's important that we keep talking about these things and having these discussions because like Fred Hampton said, you can gel a revolutionary, but you can't gel a revolution. You can kick out people out of the country, but you can't stop the conversation. You can't stop the knowledge from being passed on. And so I think that it's important that we do, no matter who's in charge or no matter who is trying to do what to us, right? That we absolutely, keep the conversation going. keep getting the truth out, right? Not the Sonya shit that she does, which is
Yeah,
what makes it so
and
disgusting.
wrong. And
Right,
wrong.
and just to keep that going, and not be afraid to to disagree with each other, not be afraid to share ideas with each other, because we all are going to have a different take on how this thing is supposed to work. We're all going to have a different take on how this
Right.
thing is supposed to look at the end of the day, and we just can't be afraid to have these discussions and to be and sometimes have a disagreement about the way something should or shouldn't go. Because I will tell you this: the conditions in South Africa, Bella said, are we still talking about sinners?
Can
Kinda.
I
um,
can I
the
say
conditions.
something about AK's POV's comment
Go ahead.
about she says Rwanda took successful ownership of the country after the genocide, but do you know a lot of what was going on in Rwanda was because back in the day, I believe the Dutch again, maybe the the Dutch people showed favor to the Tutsis because they were of lighter skin and the Hutus were of darker skin. So they were considered less than. And that's where you got the problem between the Hutus and the Tutsis in the first place, was from them, not from us, from them, something that they ingrained in us. And that's what happened to um have the two different tribes not like each other. We just the Tutsis had just smaller features. Their skin, they weren't light skinned people by far, but they weren't as dark as the Hutu tribe. And so that's what happened over there with that whole mess even becoming a thing, something that they taught us.
Yeah,
But what
yeah.
was you saying about South Africa?
Oh, what no, what I was saying was that as we have these discussions and we have the ability to have discussions with people that are outside of our normal stomping grounds, right? I can tell you that we're not always going to agree on the solution to our problems, because what's happening in Atlanta is happening in a different way in New York. What's happening in New York is happening in a different way in California. And so, the solution is not going to be a blanket solution, because we all have different circumstances behind what's happening. What we all can agree on, though, is the actual problem itself. You see what I'm saying? So we can all say that this coming down on DEI, which is affecting black college campuses now, HBCUs, right? We can all say that that is a problem. Now, how we approach that depends on who's representing us, right? Who we voted in, who we haven't voted in, and what elections we have coming up in whatever areas we are. Who does the people that we voted in, do they care about our interest or not? Because if they don't, then we got to take a whole other way to get to it. So there's just a lot of different things that locally we don't have in common, but we do all share the same problems and the same issues. So we're not always going to agree, because look, I'm from Florida, live in Atlanta, I've lived in New Orleans, and I've lived in Alabama, and it's just like, and I see all points where it's like, these are all different places with the same fucking issues. And
Hmm.
so as long as we agree on what the issue is, we can work out the solutions, where we are.
Right, right, absolutely. Idi Amin.
You diamonds.
No, no. I wasn't thinking of it. This is a white. Are you talking about the chopping off of that? No, no. This was a white man. I'm gonna look him up. I'm gonna look him up. I'm sure he's not hard to find because he's not. Uh, hands. Native talk.
I thought you was going to figure the thing.
I am, but you don't have to be quiet.
I was trying to get your bubble to look like my bubble. Okay. All right, I think I
I was gonna question that too.
did.
Like, why am I being treated different?
I was I was like, wait, I can get her bubble to look like my bubble. Okay, now it looks okay. Now it looks right. All right. All right, we good now. We good. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I
Okay.
was gonna ask. I was gonna ask.
Okay.
Let
No,
me see.
I was gonna say Make It Rain. NYC
Leopold.
says,
Okay, I'm sorry. It was Belgium, not Dutch. Belgium, and it was King Leopold II. He killed millions in Central Africa. Yep, that's who it was. King Leopold II. He killed as many as 10 million Africans.
how you gonna tell me to talk and then when I start talking, you're gonna tell me not to talk? I don't
Well,
understand.
because I have found it. Now you can talk.
But
I'm done. I'm done.
all right. Okay. Just
Well,
talk.
because you was
Okay.
not talking while I was looking, and it was making me nervous. And then,
Oh,
um, old Black but not bitter. She said, "Well, where's her milestone song? She did a
we didn't get
milestone."
it. Yes, she did a milestone. We didn't get to both of them. Dang, don't nobody want me to talk. Okay, listen. Let me read this comment and then we're gonna get to that. Okay. Make It Rain says, when I was in school, we were not taught anything about Black history. We learned from family members and roots. That's when the floodgates open. Right. There has always been a quest to suppress Black history. That has always been because it's not a bad look for us, it's a bad look for them. Okay. Black history, we didn't bring ourselves over here. We didn't treat ourselves the way they treated us. They did those things. So it's an effort to hide that and suppress that. That's why they try to teach it or they teach it in the most softest way that they possibly can, right? White fragility has definitely kept Black history from being in the forefront of education. Now that I've said that, okay. All right, now that I've said that. Black but not bitter has been rocking with your boy for 7 months. Okay, that is 7 months. Do you know that is damn near a year? That is damn near a year with my hero rocking with me. All right. Now, one time for the only black but not bitter.
I was
I
gonna
had
ask you, had them kids always been dancing? Because I ain't remember them. I was like, where them kids come from?
no, no, but that little boy be getting off. Okay, that little boy be getting off. So I had to add the little boy to the scene real quick. Okay. All right. That's my little dude right there, man. But thank you so much for rocking with your boy, the only black but not bitter. I appreciate you supporting the channel for 7 whole months. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Look,
Um,
I remember milestone music and stuff don't be that long because I ain't so sure I'm supposed to play it. So
shit,
all
man,
my stuff is real short.
nah,
You hear it, but it's real short.
man, we damn near had a whole party the other night. Everybody was like, I think people was joining just so they can have a member milestone. They were like, nah, I got a member milestone. I'm like, all right, crank it back up. We had a good time the other night. I think that was Monday. We had a good time. We was getting down. We was getting down. It's Club Native over here. It's Club Native over here.
Yeah.
Um, my Ty say they tick me out talking about what they don't want their children to feel bad. I feel like this.
Who don't want their children to feel bad about what?
Well, when they talk about Black history and they talk about slavery and they say, "Oh, we don't want people to feel the kids to feel bad because they're white." No, what it is that what you want to do is make them do better than what their great 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 grandparents did. You want them to be better than those people, and they can't do better if they don't know better. So that's what you really should be wanting to happen. It's not about making anybody feel bad, but it is about how you think we feel being like shown in chains and shit all the time. You think we feel good about that, but y'all don't have a problem showing that part. But
Right.
it should be about teaching, right? We've lost the art of actual education. You should be teaching the kids. It's not about making them feel bad, but it's about teaching them what happened and how do we never go back to that again. By not doing that, look what we're doing now. We're sending people to countries that they don't belong in. We're sending people to countries out of this country because we think that they did something. There is a man that was sent out of this country because of tattoos that were photoshopped, and Donald Trump believes that they were real photos. Okay, that's where we are right now because we refuse to embrace and learn about other cultures. It's not about feeling bad; it's about education. And we are a D plus country. I'm not making that up. That's actually what this country averages when it comes to shit that we know. We are a D plus country, and we're proud of that. We don't want to elevate above that. We're good electing people that had their own fucking reality shows and shit. We're good with that. With them running the country. And
But
that's the part that's sad. And that's the part where they really should feel bad. They should feel bad about being in a country that would elect Donald Trump twice.
how do they think I feel? I had to learn about Black history by reading. I like I said, I was fortunate in 5th grade to have a Black teacher who taught us more during that 1 week of Black history, taught more. It wasn't just all slaves in chains and cornrows and stuff. We were
Mhm.
taught about successful people. And that's what I like. But imagine how bad I felt knowing that that was the only Black history I got, was having that one Black teacher for English when I was in the 5th grade. After that, I never heard about Black history again. It was only through my own reading and learning. We didn't learn. And then, eventually they wanted to talk about Martin Luther King. Eventually.
Mhm.
We would hear about Martin Luther King, never heard about Malcolm X. These are things I learned on my own. So, how do they think I feel with my brown self sitting in a classroom full of white people, and I'm learning about Christopher Columbus, and he ain't even do what they said he did. I'm learning about what was his name with is it Sacagawea or Pocahontas? I mean, them two child molesters running around with this little girl and they making it into a love story. This is what I'm being taught instead of some stuff that really matters. And how do they think I feel
Mhm. Yeah,
learning
but
having to
again,
do
it's
that?
all done on purpose. Because think about it, if you think that, because think about it, we had rappers that were putting Donald Trump in their songs instead of Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa was the richest person to ever live, and he was a black man.
Hmm.
So these rappers, these short-sighted rappers, Nelly, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, let me in. Now y'all putting all these white people in your songs because you don't realize that there were powerful black people.
Hmm.
See, this is how it affects us, right? This is the effect that it has, and this is the effects that they want it to have. Yes, they'd rather have Bill Clinton and Donald Trump being shouted out by Nelly than Mansa Musa, okay? Than any other African kings, than any other black people that were also powerful and successful. How
You,
many rappers have ever mentioned Ida B. Wells?
they want not a one. They want to shout out Donald Trump, who crucified the Central Park Five. It
Hmm.
crucified them. I can remember, even though I was little, I just always was picking up reading stuff, and I was younger, and I remember him taking out ads in the paper in New York,
Hmm.
wanting them unalived, and now that it's been proven that they didn't do it and they actually know who do it, this man still says that they're guilty and that they
Hmm.
did it. This is who they're making records about. You want to put rap lyrics to Bill Clinton's name, a man who has a black son that looks every bit like him, who he's not even acknowledging. But
Hmm.
these are the people we want to talk about. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, but it's the effects of thinking that we are less than. So when Nelly goes to pick up his pen to write a song, he's not thinking about who are powerful black people. No, he's thinking about, oh my God, look at this powerful white man named Donald Trump. Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, let me in. I'm on the outside with these niggas. I want to be on the inside with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the effects of not teaching all of our history and not just one time a year in February, all of our history, right? We have whitewashed history to the point to where we believe that white people are the only powerful people that have ever existed and that everybody else was just swinging in the jungle or, joining Sylvia for a banana out on the plains. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's really, that's really what we think of us, right? And why you laughing? And we
The strays.
fix your face, fix your face.
Look, pow, pow,
So-
pow.
so I'm just saying, like we have to think more of us. You know what I mean? And the only way that we can do that is to learn about us. And even if, at this point, I've given up on the U.S. educational system to do that. Even if it means that we have to read our own books, we have to have our own dialogues. We have to even if it means that I got to do more lives about this shit. That we really have to know more about us because the more that we get to know us, the less we'll be afraid of us, and the more that we'll know who we actually are and what we are actually capable of.
The system that tries to keep us in prison, like um, No Child Left Behind. What are we really saying? What we're really saying is we'll take these Negroes who apparently can't learn anything, and why they can't learn is because ain't nobody bothering to teach them. We're just gonna take them and just move them on up and move them on out. What kind of
Mhm,
rule is it that if you I know where I come from, it's a rule. Like if you they can only flunk you from grade fifth grade to eighth grade so many times, like once or
mhm,
twice. If you feel they can't flunk you anymore, they have to move you on. So this is not really No Child Left Behind. This is really pushing along illiteracy. We are
mhm,
pushing it along because you still have people. Now I know we like to joke and we like to say that Nesto is a part of No Child Left Behind. You got to realize No Child Left Behind didn't come until, Nesto should have been out of school when No Child Left Behind was back in my day when I was little. That's when they came up with that. And you have all of these people. It just astounds me that there are actually 20-year-olds walking around here who cannot read. They
mhm,
simply can't read. Or that people, the way that these young people, like on Facebook, for example, I'll just use that. The way that they type stuff out, I'm like, what is that? For the longest time, ION, I didn't know what that meant. I was like, what is ION? I thought it was an acronym. Y'all know I don't know those. So I thought that that's what that was. And then I come to find out, instead of saying I don't know, it's I don't know. I'm like, no. And people become accustomed to
Wait,
thinking,
what?
what?
I tried to hold that in. I tried. What?
I don't know. Instead of I don't know, you know how they say how they have ION? I don't know. Instead of
Wait.
saying I don't know.
Oh no. Wait. Why? Why is it like that? I promise you, I was trying not to laugh when you was explaining that shit. I was holding it in over here, and then I just couldn't hold it no more. What the fuck?
No,
Who?
y'all. Okay, my tie. No, you mean to tell me y'all never seen ION and it's standing for I don't know, instead of saying I don't know, or IDK is I don't know, or I don't think
Oh my god.
I don't. You mean to tell me y'all just now learning this at today years old? Because
Oh my
I,
god.
for the longest time, did not know that that's what was being said. I
Oh my
can't
god.
read half of this. When my niece was in elementary school, she wrote a paper and I was reading it and I was like, oh, well, you have this spelled wrong. That she says, oh no, it's okay. And I was like, what do you mean it's okay? She said, it's okay. She said, it's called inventive spelling. And I said, who told you that mess? I'm thinking her mother or some other kid. No, the teacher. It's okay. Inventive spelling. Oh, so you mean to tell me it's okay to not you can hand in a paper and not spell your words right, and that's okay, but then they still hold you accountable for spelling words. Make it make sense. It makes no sense. Okay, you can do a whole paper and do inventive spelling and hand it in and get graded on your paper and not, me, it was grammar, the paper, the body, all of that. You can hand it in with all this inventive spelling and you're okay. But then they still want you to learn spelling words. Make that make sense. But y'all gonna tell me y'all didn't know that ION, it was in reference to I don't know.
No, no,
Yes,
no.
yes.
Maybe because I don't talk to enough young niggas. Maybe that's what's wrong with me. Like maybe I need to talk to some more young niggas. Maybe that's the problem. I mean, I don't know. I'm just that shit. I don't know. Let me go find. Look, it's some young niggas down the street that be playing basketball in the street down there. Let me go down there and talk to them and see if they have heard of this bullshit before. And I'm just gonna be like, hey, do y'all know what I don't know, dog. I don't know. Okay, all right, all right.
All you got to do is just go on Facebook and start scrolling and reading what people done typed. You'll be reading it like you're reading another language. Like, what the hell does that mean? I'm the one who didn't know what was it? A thought was. Somebody had to explain that to me. I didn't know, and that was explained to me. So I was like, okay, like I said, I don't know them acronyms, but yeah.
Prince used thought in a song. Prince used it in a song. Like on his last album, he used thought in a song.
Well, by his last album, I knew what that meant.
Well, I didn't. I didn't. He
Really?
said he said, "What you supposed to do with a club full of thoughts? Club full of thoughts." I'm like, "What the fuck, Prince? The
I
hell
had
you mean?"
I have a friend who is actually, coincidentally, he's a few years older than me. But every time I wanted to know something, I would contact him so he could tell me, because I never want to look dumb. So I always want to know what all things mean, even if it's slang or whatever. And eventually he was like, look, I don't know. I don't know what these young kids be talking about today. I just don't know. But they
I
don't,
don't
they
know.
don't.
Here's what I do know. I do know that everybody's a bro. All right, even if you're a woman, all right, you are a bro, or a bruh. If you're a bro or a bruh, like when they're serious, like when they are serious about telling you something, these young people be like, bro, no, I'm serious, bro, I'm so serious, bro,
And
and I'd be
that's
like,
the problem. They're serious. They
like
really,
what?
like cop cams, they're being arrested. Bro. I'm like, you can't even conduct yourself well enough to speak to these police who are arresting you for shoplifting. So it's
And,
bad enough you went in there with your bonnet and your orange hair, pink hair, whatever, shoplifting. You can't even talk yourself out of the situation.
and
Bro,
and the other thing they do is they put a at the end of everything. Okay,
no, stop. No.
bro, I was about to put it back. I wasn't trying to steal it, bro. Bro, I was about to put it in my backpack and put the backpack out.
Come
What
on.
the fuck? Like, are y'all kidding me right now? Y'all serious right now? Is this a prank? Y'all really do this? Like, for real? I
Right.
don't know. I was
I
going back, bro.
I didn't leave the store.
These handcuffs are too tight, bro. Ouch.
It's still in the cart.
What you mean,
I wasn't
ouch?
drinking.
Ouch. Ouch.
It's in the car. Let me get the receipt.
Can't take them serious when they do this shit. I can't. I can't. Like
Me either.
the police could be whooping their ass, and I can't take them serious. Ouch, man! I don't whoop her ass some more. Shit, I don't care.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. AK's POV said ASL equals as hell. Really? And I think
Hey,
I've seen that before. I didn't know that.
why is it? What? How? Okay, how do you use as hell? So dope as hell, broke as hell. Is that dumb as hell? Is that?
You're trying to
Is that
figure out how ASL equals hell, and you don't know how ION is I don't know. Are you
no,
really trying to figure this out?
this shit is ridiculous. This shit is
Oh,
ridiculous.
yeah, my time. They don't even teach cursive in school anymore. What? They graded me on that. What you mean they don't teach it no more? Do they
Yeah,
still
that,
make the paper?
mm-mm.
Because I remember my mom, she used to buy me, I used to have to practice my handwriting with the little, it had like the blue line on top and bottom, and then in the middle had the dotted lines. That was supposed to help you write. They had one to help you print, and then one
Mhm.
for cursive. My mom used to buy me. I wonder do they still sell those? Since seeing as though you don't have to write anymore these days.
Yeah, I think that's how I'm gonna know that that if I'm talking to somebody and they put ASL in there and they're not talking about American Sign Language, Justin's mom, yeah, they're getting blocked because that's the ASL I know too. American Sign Language, yes. Um, yeah, that's dumb ASL, dumb American Sign Language. That no, dumb as hell. Okay, you blocked as hell is what you are right now. You are blocked as hell. Take that how you want to.
Black but not bitter. I do too. I be writing. That's what takes me so long to comment because I be using like proper. I had some serious English teachers. I really did. They didn't play. I remember having to stand up and recite the prepositional phrases. I remember all that. And now it's okay. Like these kids start sentences with prepositional phrases. I mean, on like on, you could, like, it was just certain circumstances, but it's like, that's how they talk. That's how they talk, and I don't get it. I
That's how
just
they talk. That's how they talk.
For the longest time, I also didn't know where when they would say you would see these YouTube videos, so and so is crashing out. I'm like, well, did they get in an accident? I didn't understand what that meant. And then I finally learned what it meant. And I'm like, well, that's just stupid. This is what's wrong. What is wrong with the language that I learned? Why does it have to change now? I don't
I'm
get that.
gonna say it like this, Legacy Moon. I don't have a problem with the vernacular changing, the lingo changing. That's not where my problem lies. My problem lies in that's the only vernacular that they know. Because see, there is no more code switching. There's only one code. See, we in our generation, we had the code switch, right? We had the words, we had the slang, and we every I think every generation has their slang, right? But we had to learn how to code switch. We couldn't walk up in nobody's job interview talking about, bro, why
Yeah.
don't you give me the job? We couldn't do that. We couldn't
Yeah.
do that. We had to state our qualifications. We
I
had to
want
state,
this job, turkey. They didn't
right.
do that. They didn't do that.
Look here, Jack. I want this job on the black hand side. Jive turkey.
Yeah, we didn't do, yeah.
Nah. We had the code switch, and right now they don't have the code switching. They are just speaking one language, and I think that that's kind of dangerous because the reason why going all the way back to Africa, why we had different languages and why we had to invent Swahili so that everybody across the African continent could speak was because we had to have our own language so that they couldn't understand what we're saying. But right now they only need one book of vocabulary words to understand everything that we're saying, and that's never a good thing.
Mm-mm.
Whenever you are people that are not in power,
Right. Right.
it's never good.
Right. I remember some dances was just for the hood, just for us, and now everybody all over the world could do the dances.
Yep,
Everyone. So
yep. Even B2K was crip walking. What the fuck? Fuck was that? The fuck was that? Did I just see Marcus Houston crip walking? What the fuck? Shit. All
Yeah.
right.
And I thought when I was going, like, you couldn't do that. Like the only if you was a crip you could crip walk, but now everybody can.
Everybody crip walking. V. Lenore about to finish her crip walking class. I think she on like level one. She about to finish her shit. So, anybody can just go out there and just be crip walking it up,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. I
know?
mean anybody could do anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I think that it's, yeah, look, and I think like bringing it full circle back to our original sinners, um, discussion. Like Bella said, are we still talking about sinners? um, I think that, like, when we talk about these things, that again, supporting black filmmakers that understand, and I appreciate you all letting me know that Ryan Coogler was from Oakland. I couldn't remember where on the West Coast he was from, but when you have somebody that's from a place like Oakland, right, a place that is a bastion for black history, a bastion for black uprising, home of the Black Panthers, right? Home of Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale and the Black Panthers, 1966. The free breakfast program for kids. When you come from a place like that, right, and you're given a camera and millions of dollars, to make a movie, your point of view is going to be way different
Hmm.
than Spielberg, than Tarantino, who loves to use the N word in his movies, right?
Hmm.
But see, when you have a Ryan Coogler, right, who, when you hear it in his movies, it's not just for shock value, it's because that's the way we talk. This is the real dialogue. This is the way to go. When you empower black filmmakers, right? I don't watch Tyler Perry movies, and I don't have a problem with Tyler Perry because he's Tyler Perry. I have a problem when there's only Tyler Perry, right?
Hmm.
So when we open it up and we're supporting not just a Tyler Perry, but also Ava DuVernay, a Jordan Peele, a Ryan Coogler, these up and coming, Lila Waithe. When we start supporting black filmmakers that are making black films, we don't have to like all of them, right? But give us the option to see black people doing more than one thing.
Hmm.
And that's the reason why Sinners is just a gripping movie. Like Black But Not Bitter said, it is a movie that just happens to have vampires in it. It is not
Right.
a vampire movie, right? And when we allow filmmakers to do original films and to express their thoughts, we get movies like Sinners.
Hmm.
And this is why this movie is so important. This is why I've been telling y'all to go see it multiple times, because we need more of this, and we need to show that not only can we change markets by not going to Target, not only can we change markets by not going to Walmart and not going to Publix, and now, news alert, not going to Home Depot, we can show that by not only can we change markets by not spending our money, but we can also change industries like the film industry by spending our money at movies like Sinners, supporting directors like Ryan Coogler.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I
Did
agree.
we get it? Did we
Yeah.
get it, Lexi Moon? Did
Yeah.
we get
We got it. We got it.
it? That is awesome. Look, y'all, I appreciate the discussion, Legacy Moon. I appreciate you coming by.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
I thought we had a very spirited discussion. Thank you
I do
all for
too.
being here.
I mean, I'm no Perlene, but you know.
Man, ain't nobody Perlene. Hold on, hold on,
Oh,
hold
we got
on.
to see her again. Okay.
You got doggone right. We got to see her again. Hold on.
All right.
I'm just saying.
Mm,
You see how
okay.
she looking at me, right? You see how she looking at me.
Yeah, she looking right at you.
Yeah,
Hmm.
she looked at me, right. Miss Chalet looked at me like this when she was on stage singing "Something in My Heart" back in 1990. I just want you to know.
And she crazy as a bedbug too. So okay.
We ain't talking about that though. We ain't talking about that. We ain't talking about. Okay. All right. Listen, y'all. This is all I got for y'all, man. Thank y'all so much for coming by. I appreciate the discussion. Let me know if there's anything else. What other discussions you want to have that don't relate to Ernesto Williams? They say he nasty.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, let me know. Let me know. Yes, she was. Dumples Wumples. Why people can't let me have nothing? I don't understand. Anyway, um, listen, this was fun, guys. This was fun. So we should do this again. All right.
By the way, I
Um,
will not be going live tonight.
Legacy Moon will not be going live tonight. I am going to watch the Warriors attempt to play basketball tonight. I don't know. Um, shit. We look like shit the last couple games, but I'm gonna watch some basketball. Legacy Moon, thank you so much for coming by and
Thank
doing
you
this
for
with me.
having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Legacy Moon, will you be on tomorrow?
Yeah, I will. I will. Regular, probably 9 o'clock. Hmm.
Okay. All right.
We will
So
do. I don't know. I have something. I think I have some stuff up my sleeve. So we will do something non Nesto ish. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we will because I've been hearing some things. But anyway, but so no, I won't. Dimples, Wimples, I won't be live tonight.
My test said, does V Lenore know about Pearline? Yeah, because she saw the movie. Hello. She went and saw Sinners. She saw it twice.
No, I'm sure my Ty is asking you, does V know about your obsession with Perline?
I'm not obsessed. I just think that this is a beautiful black woman, and I'm sorry if
Uh-huh.
y'all are not with me on this. Okay, then y'all just ain't with me on this. But that's a beautiful black woman. I'm sorry. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. Shit, I don't care.
My
Hell,
Ty, you could have had daylight moon Monday, Tuesday, and is today Wednesday? Yeah. Yeah, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't. I got like a whole bunch of things going on. One of which is me being frozen out of my account because somebody tried to commit fraud. So I'm not a happy camper. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, but I will be back tomorrow night. So I thank you so much for having me, Native, and we will have to do this again.
we absolutely. Uh-huh.
Maybe we will break down a Jordan Peele movie. Show it
Oh yeah.
and then break it down.
Oh man, we got to do us because I don't think people really understood
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Oh my
That was a
god.
big thing too and that yeah,
Oh my god.
we'll have to get together and
Oh
come
my
up with
god.
something where we
Us
show it
is
and then have a discussion on it.
look. Us is a misunderstood movie, man.
It
That
is.
movie is so misunderstood. God, just a masterpiece, but it was so misunderstood. So yes, we are going to have to do that. Legacy Moon, thank you so much again for
Thank
coming
you.
by the Native Tribe Show. Everybody, give it up for Legacy Moon.
Leave here. I'm on my computer. How do I leave? I'm on the Mac.
Thank you, Legacy. I got you covered, Legacy Moon. I got
Okay. All right.
you.
All right. Good night, y'all.
Good night. Yes, indeed. We um we are done for this evening. That is all that I got for y'all. Okay. All right. We had our special guest Legacy Moon in the house discussing Sinners. Look, if there's some things that I missed, some things that y'all want me to know about the movie that I didn't see or that I missed, please feel free to reach out to me and we can further this discussion a little bit further. I want to thank the Native Tribe Urban Media Mod Squad for always being on the scene and handling all those things behind the scenes. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you so much. I'm going to be back tomorrow. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, but I will be doing something tomorrow. Okay. And then we'll discuss that from there. But in the meantime, thank y'all again for coming out. All right. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you are enough. You are beautiful. You are loved and you are blessed. And there isn't anything that anybody can do about that, not even you. All right. Thank y'all for coming out. I will be back tomorrow and we will talk then. Y'all have a good evening. Go freaking Warriors. Okay. Y'all have a good one.